West Side Story. Well, so it's just a ride. Well, so it's West Side Story. Well, so it's just a ride. Hey, man. It's just a ride.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Wheels Blues podcast. We can never leave our house episode. Day I don't remember. Joining me today is, as usual,
at Eric _83.
Hey, buddy, it's good to see ya.
Heyo.
how's it going?
I'm good.
Good.
Next.
At Tin Can Blues, I'm here with you again, and I hope it's fucking good to see me, guys. Fuck.
Well, it's good to see you when you're
It's
Zod.
pleasant. It's just pleasant to see you.
Is it better because I don't have the video going?
Yes, much
Okay.
better.
All right.
And I'm at Squeed, and it's less pleasurable to see you guys than you guys feel about seeing each other. So
Yeah, well, we
We'll just
feel the same
leave it
fucking
there.
way.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Take your glasses off. It's great. I can barely see any of you.
you're right. Oh, way better.
Yeah, isn't it better?
So what's been going on, guys? What's been going on this week?
Just school and slowly withering away because I will never leave my house again.
Oh,
I'm steadily becoming a night owl again, which is going to suck when the world eventually returns to order and I have to go to work in the mornings.
Yep.
yeah, that is going to be
That's-
rough.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Resident Evil 3 dropped last night at 10 o'clock, and I was up till 4 in the morning playing video games. So
Did you finish it already?
no, I'm about halfway through. I was zoning out and checking out movie posters and all. Like, there's so many Easter eggs in that game, and it's just the environments are so pretty. It's just it's hard not to just kind of get caught up wandering around.
So it's okay.
I saw Shannon posted a IG story, and it was like, oh, I've lost him forever. And it's like you walking around and like you pick up a letter, and it's just like you're clearly reading this fucking letter, and I'm like, oh shit, he's just gonna fucking every fine tooth comb.
Yeah, I have everything. Man.
Nice.
It's great. I'm loving it.
Nice. She also messaged yesterday. She's like, before that point, she's all like, oh no, I guess Sid's gone for the night. And I was like, haha, you think it's only the night? That's hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, I'm halfway done the game, so I'm not really gonna do anything until I'm done it.
Yeah, it seems like, well, you're only halfway done, so maybe it is only going to be like 2 nights.
Yeah, right. Well, no, because there's infinite. Dude, my stats for Resident Evil 2 remake were, I think I played that game more than any other game last year, and it was like for 86 hours, and I can speedrun that game in an hour and 30 minutes.
Whoa.
So
So
I
you
put a lot of-
stretched that out to almost
Dude,
90
speed
hours?
runs, S rankings, unlockables, just exploring the game, having fun, blowing zombies' limbs off, that kind of shit. It's great. Can't get enough.
I'm not down with the lingo, man. I didn't even know what the fuck you just said.
Talking about
Yeah, I guess you're
fucking
old.
Tin Can Blues. You play video games probably more than all of us. What are you talking about?
I do play a fair amount of video games, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Dude,
That
we
is
were
dude.
farming for 4 hours the other night.
Dude,
so.
that was
What the fuck?
man, we seriously were.
You talking
spent
about
a-
Farm Simulator?
No.
No.
We play Stardew Valley. It's more like
Oh.
Animal Crossing, but better.
Is it?
It's
Oh,
fun.
I
Right? Well,
know.
Is it?
we started at 8 o'clock the other night, and before we knew it, it was 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So-
You played it. You played it on Steam.
No, on PS4.
Oh, I was gonna say, I have that on Steam. I
Oh.
played it with my brother.
You should get it on
occasionally.
PS4, and then you can join us.
I'm not. I'm not. No.
Oh, I got better things to spend my $16.99 on.
I do. It's
Fucking-
$16.99.
You know how much Pink Whitney
Holy
$16.99
crap.
can buy you? You fucking
Oh,
guys.
shit. Speaking of Pink Whitney.
Oh,
Are we
speaking
doing
of
this?
it,
All right. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
cheers.
everybody.
I'll pretend I didn't see that, Daniel.
Oh, straight from the bottle.
There
No
you go.
fucking around today, kids. No fucking around today.
It's got that COVID witness.
Holy fuck. You know, it's only been 2 weeks since we were at your house drinking out of that.
Yeah,
I
dude.
wiped the bottle off.
Yeah, did you wipe the inside out?
The
What did
inside
you
out.
do it? Yeah, you saw how Sid drinks out of a bottle.
Tongue first,
And
man.
we were drinking out of the bottle 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you weren't.
Yeah.
This is the world we live in now. Okay, I drink out of bottles now.
Dude, that's like the worst possible time for you to just start drinking out of bottles.
No, it's the best time. It's the best time to just
It's the
give in to-
riskiest time to
give
just
into
start.
alcoholism and just drink out of the bottle.
Oh, this is gonna go off the rails pretty quick. He's already opening the bottle. Oh, I thought you were opening the bottle.
I was going to, but then I thought better. But Mr. Producer, what are we getting up to today?
Well, I thought we'd talk a little bit. I don't know if you guys have finished Ready Player One or started reading it, but I read it and I did finish it, and it is fucking awesome. It was better than the movie, and I enjoyed that. Yeah, I thought it was way better than the movie. So if you want to talk about that, I want to talk about that, but I understand if the rest of you didn't. Are you just hanging yourself, Sid, or what are you? Are you just start talking about the book and you're like, that's it, I'm going to hang myself. That's
And
it.
I got shit for
Live
drinking
on the
out of the
fucking
bottle.
Zoom.
I'm sorry.
Has there ever been an instance where the movie was better than the book? Because I think it's always, I mean, Jurassic Park, Congo.
Yeah, you could usually say it's a pretty fair assumption to say.
Controversial opinion, I think the Lord of the Rings extended edition movies are better than the Lord of the Rings books.
Okay, well, there you go.
Because the books are so long and he describes literally everything in the scene. And it makes it really like vibrant and vivid and all that, use your imagination crap. But like the movies, man, they're just so good.
There's 40 minutes of Ents walking though. Like Peter Jackson kind of was an idiot.
There's like 2 days worth of books where the Ents are walking.
Yeah, dude, and you read the Silmarillion and it's like the goddamn Bible. So like, what do you expect from old school writing? That style. It's like, they were building a universe with those books.
I'm
Dude,
aware,
building
and
an entire universe.
it's a great universe. I just liked it better when Peter Jackson did it.
I read.
Peter Jackson has a habit of making like scenes that aren't super important last way too goddamn long. Like I don't need to see 45 minutes of fighting in a 3-hour movie.
But you need to read about it for 3 days.
Dude, it doesn't take that long to read those books.
This was the one reason I didn't read those books. Like I read Lord of the Rings like for I think 3/4 of the way through, and the whole time it didn't grab me at all. Like a book will eventually, if it's gonna get you, and you're gonna keep reading it, it'll hook you.
I like them. Like I think they're good books, but I just enjoy those specific movie adaptations better.
It never hooked me. Not for 1 second. I had to force myself through every single page of Lord of the Rings.
Do you not like the movies either?
The movies were fine, but like I probably will never read the books, and I have no urge to read those books.
Yeah,
the books and the movies for me, yeah. I couldn't do it. I watched a little bit of the first movie and was like, this is like, I had more interest in the pages of a book of zigzags than I did.
Do you like the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, but
books?
after you opened up the pages of the zigzags, were you more interested in Lord of the Rings after that?
For a few minutes.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't think.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the delay. It's hard to do with the delay. Sorry, guys, but I was just gonna say if it's a pretty fair assumption the book's gonna be better than the movies. You can probably assume that for most.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example because I swear to God there was one that I had in like back in the day where I was like,
is it one of the Harry Potter movies, maybe?
No.
Actually. Forrest Gump, the movie for me was better than the book.
I didn't even know that was based on a book.
No,
there's a book. It's like it's fucking like it's
not a novelization of the movie, right? Like the movie was a take on the book.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe that was the case. But I mean, there's some weird shit going on in that book that I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Because I know, like, the movies are usually better than novelizations of the movies. Because it's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that in Ready Player One, man, like the movie is really good. Like the effects and everything. Like that movie, like I said, I felt the same way about that as I did a Scott Pilgrim. Like it's just that kind of movie. It's awesome with the video games and all the pop culture references. But the book does it like it's like on crack. Like there's way more of it, and all the trials are different. So there's no race. There's none of this. And there's
a race. There's a race in the book.
Not really.
I think the first trial is a race.
No, the first trial
in the book.
No, in the book, the first trial is they're like the gate turns out to be on their school planet where he goes to school, and there's not even.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, okay, I remember.
And it's a Dungeons and Dragons thing,
right.
and he's got to beat the guy playing Joust.
Yeah, yeah, I remember. A lot of the book challenges were more intellectual and like knowledge based.
Even one, like, it was involved like the band Rush.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to Rush for like 2 fucking weeks now since I read that book. I've just been, every chance I get, I'm like, play the album 2112 by Rush. Like, immediately, what a fucking cool album. Even that the first song is 20 minutes. Like, it's just one of those albums where you're like, wow,
whoa,
this is gonna get weird. But yeah, and then and so what I did is they play a ton of Atari in the book. They play some in the movie too, but the book is a lot of Atari. And so I got one of those Raspberry Pi emulators. I put Rush in my ears and a shit ton of Atari games, and I've been just trying to beat Joust and all that kind of stuff.
Wicked! That's
yeah,
awesome.
It's been a pretty. That's kind of what I've been doing the last couple of nights.
Do you have artillery?
No, but I could get artillery.
You should get artillery. Artillery's rad.
I was playing Joust and Tempest and like those all those kind of games that are mentioned in the book.
Yeah.
But like the whole thing is nostalgia. Like
absolutely.
There was no it just everything about that book and movie, they just call back to everything that you loved as a kid. And it seems like so much of our culture now is just driven by it, right? Like
yeah,
how much
absolutely.
Like everything, like no matter what you do, every movie coming out is a sequel or a reboot or a remake, and it's pulling at all those. Man, they all loved this stuff when they were kids, and now they're all adults. Let's keep pumping out movies. Like they're going to spend the money on.
It's definitely a generational thing. It seems to definitely be a generational thing, and I think it's partly due to like the way our like society and technology is going so fast that we feel like the next big thing has already passed us by, so we pine back to those simpler moments before it really exploded, right? Like we used to ride bikes to someone's house and knock on the door, and now you're IMing people from your fucking watch. You know, like it's like, I want those easy times of like going over and, you know, leaving the Sega Genesis on all night so I can beat Sonic or whatever the hell, you know, like all those where but you know, it just seems slower moving.
All that like nostalgia is so prevalent now, I think, because there's just so much of it. Like there was like that 80s and 90s, like there was so much, like TVs were in everybody's homes. Everybody was going to see the movies. Everybody had a video game system. People were starting to get computers. Like that whole time is just because before that there was not really any of that shit. Like even when in the 60s when my dad was growing up, they didn't have a TV. So like in the 20 years since then, it was like movies, pop culture, all this shit. There's so much more of it. And I think that's why, like, I guess the older generation from us doesn't really have the same, like, they're not tethered to their youth so much like that. Like they're never like, oh yeah, like all this movies and callbacks to the stuff that were popular when they were young. Like,
well, I disagree with that. Like we talk about Star Wars and fucking Indiana Jones and like
but that was the
Godfather. We are all 80s children.
Star Wars
we are all
was 70s
80s children.
Yeah, but I mean, older than us, I mean. So, like, we talk about that stuff because it was so available to us. But if you go back one generation, it really wasn't. Like, what were you watching? Hockey Night in Canada, listening to it on the radio?
None.
I mean, like,
they had television in the 60s.
Yeah, but it wasn't as prevalent. There wasn't a TV everywhere you go. You weren't getting sport updates on your phone, you know, like
in the late 80s, when like the earliest memories I have, we had one TV in the house and it had like 10 channels. Like it wasn't like now there's just 4 TVs in the house and they're all connected. Everything in your pocket has a screen in it. There's 3 screens around you at all. Like right now I have fucking 3 screens around me.
But don't you think it's interesting that like we choose to watch things from our past on all these screens? Like we don't, like people don't generally seek out new things.
No,
like,
because it's comfort. It's like,
and there's so much consumable media constantly. Like it's impossible to keep up. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, it's not like, oh, I want to go check out the newest movie. Like I do this with video games. If I'm feeling a little down, I'm not going to go, sweet, I'm going to play this new video game and explore a new world. I'm going, I want my comfort food. I'm going to play Final Fantasy VII or RE2 on the PS1 or something like that, where I'm like, I played this game 100 times, but I want that comfort, that that nostalgia buzz that you get from it, right?
Yeah.
But there wasn't even any of this like when we were kids. Like, can you remember like anybody, like everybody was so focused on the future, and now we always seem to be looking back. Like right now, we're always looking back at the TV shows we watch. Like Disney has a whole section called throwbacks. They have Chip and Dale, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck. They got all those like Saturday.
DuckTales.
Yeah, DuckTales. They got all that Saturday afternoon cartoons. It's just everything.
but
many.
They also have like because I talked to my uncle and he's I guess he's like 52 or whatever now, so he's about a generation younger than me. So his nostalgia is for like the 40s and 50s. Like that's his nostalgia. Like that's
but really,
like
what
our
are you
nostalgia
nostalgic
is
for?
that our nostalgia is like this. Well, I guess his nostalgia is like the 60s and 70s because that's when he was a kid.
Yeah, so you're nostalgic.
Our nostalgia would be like the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah. But like, so my point is, there's so much more to be nostalgic for that we have than the generation older than us. Because
I don't
know about that. I mean, the music alone.
But pop
we have
culture and stuff like that.
The fashion as well.
But what I mean is, like, you're not making movies about it. Like, Dazed and Confused? That's a movie, probably a nostalgia. American Graffiti.
Have you seen? American Graffiti was about school in the 50s.
Yeah, it was, but it's nostalgia. It's a nostalgia grab. The movie was made in like the 70s.
The 70s.
Yeah.
So it's a nostalgia. That's a nostalgia. But there wasn't a whole bunch of it. Like there was a few movies here and there, but really all the movies were about the present time, and all the I mean, you didn't really have any video games to call back to. Like, if you're in this, grew up in the 60s and 70s, you're nostalgic for the music, the fashion, but really what other pop culture? It's like some hockey, probably.
Well, because that's where pop culture is now. So it's hard to, like, are these movies, like, is it nostalgia, or is it just like, is it just like an easy cash grab?
Yeah, but it's an easy cash grab because of it. Like, we're so fueled by it.
But are they doing it out of nostalgia? Is it? You think it's out of nostalgia? Because I think it is easy.
I think it's definitely out of money. It's definitely to make money for sure.
It's make money off nostalgia. Like,
so they're making. So you're saying that they're making the movie Ant-Man out of fucking nostalgia and not?
No, they're making
it for money, but that whole
most popular thing in the world right now, which is not nostalgic, is comic book characters, like comic book movies.
Well,
it's kind of nostalgic thing in the world right now. Like, it's not really nostalgic because comic book movies haven't been popular up until like 20 years ago.
They weren't, but they were made because somebody was nostalgic for them.
Pretty much the most well-known comic book movie before 1989 was Superman.
Yeah.
Other than that, there wasn't really like well-known comic. There wasn't like any desire or interest in making those kind of movies.
Yeah, but they made those because all the kids that grew up reading the comics became filmmakers and actors and producers and whatever. They all got jobs somehow, and they're animators, CGI artists, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the people from like the 70s and 80s, they got into making movies and television and stuff because of like the 40s and the 50s when it was like westerns and detective noirs and like historical.
Yeah, but like
epics.
I don't know. It wasn't the sheer amount of it. There wasn't near, like.
I agree with you somewhat there, Tyson, just in the sense that like there's so much consumable media now, like so much, then there just wasn't the same level of it. So and trends with media and entertainment pass so quickly and go through so many different stages because of its availability and just the sheer amount of it that we become nostalgic faster for things. I believe nobody. I don't really remember anybody like. When I was a kid, it was like maybe they were nostalgic for the music, but nobody would like. Maybe my dad was like, "Oh yeah, the Three Stooges," and that was pretty much it. He wasn't like now. I would be like, "Oh," like to my son, I would be like, "Oh, back then, like Nintendo and Super Nintendo." See, I would be going on about and the movies, like the original Ninja Turtles. I don't think your dad's that much of like an entertainment consumer either, though, right?
Yeah,
well, he is more about like, hunting and fishing and doing that kind of stuff than he was watching movies and TV and shit.
Yeah,
right?
but that's because he didn't have a fucking TV.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I mean.
But a lot of people did, and a lot of people went to cinemas a lot, and a lot of people were fascinated and super interested in music. Like I
Yeah,
think
and movies,
it's not
but, like-
necessarily a generational thing. Like when you just sit,
But
before Harry Home passed away, you could sit and talk to him about trains, and you could see that glint in his eye of a time where he was shoveling coal into that train. He's got nostalgic feelings for the old ways, the way things were done before, like diesel engines and shit like that. Like
Yeah, but your
nostalgia
whole
just takes many forms. It's just so associated with pop culture now that I think we forget that you can be nostalgic for things that aren't movie and TVs. You can be nostalgic for an era. You can be nostalgic for dirt roads and log cabins over fucking paved streets and drywall.
you know what's a pretty good movie about that? Midnight in Paris. You guys seen that with Owen Wilson?
That's a good
Never
movie.
even heard
But
of it.
even that was made by Woody Allen, who's
Yeah.
like nostalgic for like
Yeah,
the
but that's
fucking
the-
40s and
that's
other
the whole point of the
awful
movie.
things.
That's the whole point of
Yeah.
the movie. The guy Owen Wilson goes to Paris in 2010, but
Yeah.
he thinks that like the golden age of Paris for art and all this kind of stuff, and he thinks it's the 20s.
Yeah.
So, and he ends up going back to the 20s by some time travel thing that goes
Yeah.
on, and he
Yeah,
starts
yeah.
hanging out with like Hemingway and Salvador Dali and all these
Yeah.
kind of guys and F. Scott Fitzgerald. And he starts partying with all these guys and really enjoying himself. And every night he goes back to the future and then blah, 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 blah. But then at some point in the movie, one of the girls he meets is like, oh, this isn't the golden age. Like you're thinking of the 1800s. And then so
So exactly. Like it goes back and back and back. Sorry, what's that movie called? I want to watch it.
Midnight in
Midnight in
Paris.
Paris.
Yeah, it's on Prime Video.
Nice.
It's kind of slow moving, but it's very entertaining.
Yeah,
Nice.
I like Midnight in Paris too,
It's
and
in my watch list.
I don't particularly like Woody Allen.
Yeah, but it's pretty good.
It's not to
All,
like, but
all,
yeah.
all I was trying to say is like everything, there's so much nostalgia. And just watching that movie and reading that book made me realize how much of it that we think about all the time and how much of it I was familiar with. Like,
Well, we're also living in a tumultuous time, so thinking back to just times of ease and happiness is only natural. Like especially this year. Like it's not bad enough that we're living in such a super capitalistic society where every day is a struggle. The cost of living goes up faster than our wages increase and all that. And now we're dealing with a pandemic. Of course, we're pining back to the yesteryear, to the good times, to the easy times, to just those moments that make us happy. And that's always involving media because we
Okay.
grew up in a generation that's saturated by media.
That's why I love wrestling.
it's timeless.
We were talking about that before the podcast.
It is like it really is like Monday night. I mean, it's like waking up and opening your fucking eyes. Monday night is wrestling night, and no matter how shitty it gets, and it gets bad,
It's bad.
it gets really bad.
Yeah.
You always come back that next Monday night because you remember that. Hey, this was like, tonight could be hot. Like tonight could be like a really good show. And
Yeah.
But I am nostalgic for wrestling because when I was in like high school, like that whole
Yeah, but you're not
Generation X
Yeah,
corporation.
but you don't watch it now. Like you're not nostalgic to the point where you like go back and watch it.
No, well, it's because it's all different now. I don't know who any of the guys are, but back then when I was watching it, and it was really popular at the time, was that Degeneration X, that
Yeah.
whole feud with the corporation, and then kind of Steve Austin was just kind of there. Like that's kind of like, I guess somebody in the 80s would call that not the glory, but I call that the glory days of wrestling. Like there was so much good shit going on at that time. Like the Road Dogg Jesse James, the Badass Billy Gunn, X-Pac and Kane became tag team partners for fuck's sakes. Like
Kane had a lot of tag team championship
man,
runs
like-
with a lot of different people.
but that was just awesome. Like it's like an unlikely duo, right? And then sometimes X-Pac's a little guy, right?
I always loved those weird hookups. I remember once Stone Cold held the tag team titles with Shawn Michaels. He held them with Dude Love, and he held them with the fucking Undertaker. Stone Cold Steve Austin was
Yeah.
a tag team champion with the Undertaker.
He was with Triple H
Dude,
too.
that guy was never
Like-
part of any team, right? Like he was his own guy.
He always got thrust into those
Yeah.
situations, and then they always end up winning the title. Then they have like a big match to like blow off the feud.
Was there another? So like, do you remember like during that time? Was there another wrestler that didn't like Stone Cold Steve Austin? Because it seemed to me that everybody liked the guy, and the only ones that didn't was Vince McMahon. For the
I mean, like in storyline.
yeah. Like
Well,
was he
he had
ever?
a
They
really
had a
great-
big beef, didn't they?
Bret Hart.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Who did Sid say? Who was that?
Didn't him and The Rock have a beef for a
Oh,
while?
of course. Oh, yeah. Him
Yeah.
and The Rock, like, they always went back to that. They headlined 3 WrestleManias with The
In a
Rock.
row.
Yeah, but The
That's
Rock
pretty-
was like a corporation, at the time, wasn't he? Like, wasn't he
There was
part of
one
that?
where he was in the corporation, and then there was one where that was X7, and actually Stone Cold sided with Vince in that one.
Really?
And the third one was when The Rock was like a big Hollywood fucking megastar and came
And
back
Austin
and
retired.
actually he actually beat Stone Cold and fucking
Oh yeah.
like
And that was the night
He was-
wrestling died.
He's one of my favorites, man. Stone Cold. He was one of my favorites, man.
dude, I have the WWE Network, and I have just been loving going back and watching like the old. Like I was telling Justin, I watched every Raw from 1996, and like Stone Cold is just coming into his he's starting a feud with like Bret Hart, and he's breaking like people's ankles and shit, and he's just like he's beating up like production assistants and. He's giving swirlies to like
Pulling
Brian
beer
Pillman.
trucks up to the fucking ring and like
Yeah.
spraying the owner of the WWE with him.
The one specifically that I remember was I think he was like starting the feud with Bret Hart, but like Brian Pillman was involved, and he goes to Pillman's house, and Pillman is laid up with like a broken ankle, and the thing is that Austin is
Or
beating
is this that one? Yeah.
this is that one. So it's
Nice.
like he's beating up these 2 people outside of fucking Brian Pillman's house. And then he busts in. Like, they show him. He's, like, busting in the fucking window of the door. And he comes storming in. Brian Pillman pulls out a fucking pistol and, like, points it at him. People called the police. Real people in that neighborhood called
Yeah.
the police because they
Yeah.
thought that fucking like some real shit was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like it was like Austin at his like just on the the prefaces of
Daniel,
greatness.
did you ever get my my message about borrowing my Crave password so you can watch Dark Side of the Ring?
I'm watching Dark Side of the Ring. I'm watching it on Daily Motion.
Oh, okay. Then
The
never
fucking
mind.
New Jack episode was.
Oh, dude, fucking New Jack, Jesus.
And then next week is the Brawl for All, which everybody should watch.
Yes.
Because the Brawl for All was an idea where fucking they were gonna have the wrestlers go into shoot fights on Monday Night Rush. Shoot fights, real fights. Like and it was told to the guys like, you can do this or you cannot do this, but if you sign up for it, like we're not fucking liable for what happens to you.
No.
And it was just like, it was at the early onset of like MMA. I think Big John McCarthy, for you MMA fans out there, was like a referee for like the first week of the Brawl for All.
Oh,
And
cool.
like, fuck this, I'm out of here. Like, this is
Yeah.
fucking ridiculous. I'm going to Pride.
And it was all because like they wanted to get like their pretend mixed martial artist over, and he
Well,
got his
so
ass
they
kicked like
wanted
the
to
first
get-
round.
They wanted to get, it was all catered to getting Dr. Death, Steve
Right,
Williams
yeah.
over.
Yeah.
But he got his ass whooped by Bart Gunn
Yeah.
in the first round, and it was like all bets are off. So it pretty much turned into the boys in the back, like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
Bradshaw is fucking going out there, like someone's gonna get their ass, and people got
Yeah.
fucked up, like people got
yeah.
fucked up.
Oh, and then they fucking had the WrestleMania because the winner gets Butterbean at WrestleMania, which
They got Butterbean, like
Butterbean just like imploded
dummied him.
Buttercut's face. Oh my god.
I encourage you people to go to the WWE Network. Every WrestleMania is free right now. Go to WrestleMania 15 and click on fucking Bart Gunn versus Butterbean. Trust me, it's like 3
It's like,
minutes,
yeah, it's
and it's like it's a sanctioned assault.
it is.
Man, WrestleMania.
It would be like Conor McGregor versus Wheels. It would be fucking
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's exactly what would happen. Yeah.
Oh man.
Holy shit. Yeah, dude. Man, what about those wrestlers? There's like 2 or 3 of them that I think were actually professional. Like they fought in MMA and were actually
Ken Shamrock.
Yeah,
Ken
Ken
Shamrock fought
Shamrock.
MMA.
and Kurt Angle.
No, well,
He
Kurt
was
Angle
an amateur wrestler. He was
Yeah,
an
yeah,
amateur
He
okay,
was
so
a
like-
Foxcatcher, man. He was a part of Foxcatcher.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So they were like actually, and then probably Vince McMahon was like, "Come on, I'll pay you a fucking shit ton of money."
Oh yeah,
Fucking
and I mean,
oh,
like, once you go so far in MMA, I mean,
Yeah.
why not go to WWE? And
Yeah.
see,
Brock
I
Lesnar takes
love
time
Ken
from eating
Shamrock.
bears to
Yeah.
go wrestle once a week.
Hey man, Brock Lesnar is like a legit fighter. All right,
Yeah,
that guy.
he is.
I don't care. I love Brock Lesnar.
I like
Just
Brock.
love-
I'm on the Brock Lesnar train. It took me
High
a while,
key,
but I'm
that
there.
guy's like my man crush Monday right now.
Nice.
It is
But
nice.
back to the nostalgia thing. Yeah, I think like every generation has their own nostalgia.
Did we just
Yeah,
wax
like
poetic
10
about WWF from fucking 10 years ago or 20 years ago? Like all of us. We all had something.
We did.
So, I mean,
That's the power of nostalgia.
that's the power of it. Right there.
Nostalgia's yeah,
And I mean,
nostalgia's
like-
an important thing.
And I would probably watch all that wrestling again. I probably wouldn't watch it now just because I'm so out of the loop. I wouldn't know what the fuck's going on. I don't even know what the fuck's in it. I don't like. I'd be like, is fucking Kane still here? Like, I don't know. Like,
The king is still there.
no Kane.
Oh, Kane.
Yeah.
No, he
No.
moved on. He's out.
He's a
doing-
mayor now.
What about
Yeah,
what about
mayor.
Triple H?
Triple H is like fucking running the show, man.
Really?
Oh,
What do you mean
dude,
he's running the show?
he married
He's the big bad boss,
Vince's
Yeah, I know.
daughter.
I remember that from like the night, like whatever,
Dude, who was
2000.
he gonna marry? She was there to marry fucking.
She was gonna
Edge.
marry,
Yeah, test.
yeah, Test. or
Test.
something.
It was Test. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And
like,
then the Triple H shows a video of him like passed out doing the drive-through wedding chapel shit.
Yeah, right. You like see like assaults her, and then they get
That was
married.
date rape. He drugged her,
right,
and then they
yeah.
said they were going to consummate
Yeah,
the marriage.
yeah.
and then like she became
Good times.
she
good
became a
times.
heel. Like she became a heel. She turned
Oh, she
heel
became
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
cunt.
yeah.
and joined, and that was it. Like, so, but he's like not. Is he wrestling still, or does he just kind of show
He
up? and it's
wrestles the odd time, but it's more. So he's in charge of like NXT. Yeah, he's in charge of like a bunch of stuff, but he pretty much is like the Vince McMahon of like their NXT brand.
Like, okay.
So,
So-
he has the book.
so
like,
he's-
the buck stops.
Well, fuck, he's been around a long fucking time. Like, if there's a
he
guy
is.
running
He's-
the show,
He's a smart guy. Like,
yeah, like if there's a guy that understands wrestling both in the ring and out of the ring and everything that
Yeah.
goes on in and around it, he's probably the guy. Like, with the guy's
Yeah.
been around since fucking the early '90s, probably.
yeah, when he
So,
was
I mean-
Terra Rising in WW or WCW.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
wow.
fuck, like the guy's been around forever. Like,
Yeah,
it's not like you're throwing the reins to some fucking other guy like that's just showed up
Some-
yesterday.
some Jamook.
Fucking Rikishi Fatu or something, you know? Like,
Have you
Is
guys
that the
been
guy with
going
the-
back?
is that the guy with the big ass?
Yeah,
And his like fucking finishing move was just to smother somebody with his ass.
that's correct.
Fuck.
Man,
What a wild time, man.
I can't believe how tiny he was in like 1989 when he was in the WWE as like Fatu.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was so small. He was like 250 pounds.
Man, did anybody else buy those CDs that had the fucking all
Yes.
the intro
Oh,
songs?
WWF Attitude?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did too.
Dude, I
Yeah.
loved it because like the Stone Cold theme, man, just like dun, 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 dun. It's just like shit's about to get real.
I think I'm just checking, but I think it's on Apple Music.
I learned
They're
Napster, so
all
I
on
just
Spotify.
stole music.
Free.
If you have Spotify,
Holy
they
fuck.
got like they have these CDs that have been released like last year called Uncaged,
Nice.
and it's
Oh.
like all like pretty much like B-sides like
Oh my
of
God.
like wrestling themes.
Hey, you guys remember Val Venus?
Oh
Hello, ladies.
Oh man, Dude Love is on here. Ken Shamrock, Gangrel, The Brood.
That's an awesome theme
Oh,
song.
man. I'm gonna listen to this shit as soon as we're done with the pod.
The
The
Brood is
Brood-
dope.
The Brood is a
Let's
dope
go.
theme song. It's so
That
dope.
heavy hard hat, fucking
Absolutely.
fuck.
Oh man, fucking good times, man. That, you know what? I did have a good time. I did have good times watching wrestling. I remember going to a friend's house to watch the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I did it once, and it was the one where like Stone Cold, you thought he was gonna win it, but then Shane McMahon came at the last second and like threw him out of the. It was a Royal Rumble, must have been, because is that the one where like they all go in the ring and then the last one in there
Yeah.
was- yeah, okay. So I think Stone Cold was one of the last ones, and then Shane McMahon throws him out and wins.
Vince McMahon.
Or-
Vince
or was it
McMahon.
Vince McMahon?
It was Vince. Yeah, The
Ah,
Rock
fuck.
comes out and is like distracting Austin, and then Vince runs up behind him and throws him out, dude. Fucking Vince McMahon won the 1999 Royal Rumble.
That was the one. I was at a buddy's house. We all were pissed off. You know when you're pissed off because you're like, Stone. Yeah, everybody in the whole place is cheering for Stone Cold.
Oh,
Which led to an impromptu, like, amateur WWF match for teenagers outside in the fucking grass. So
Yeah.
we all got injured, and then, you know.
I cannot tell you the like damage I probably did to my fucking body backyard wrestling.
Dude, I
Fucking high
remember,
school.
I remember like talking to my friends, like we were graduated high school. We were, you know, probably reminiscing because of nostalgia about high school. And we were talking about like one time in gym class, I think it just got out of control. And at the end of it, like all the dudes in the whole class just started a WWF. Like we were all just fighting, like pretending, like stomping on each other and doing all that. And then at one point I was a little guy, still am, but you know, I was much littler if you can imagine.
No.
If you can imagine. So I obviously I was the one to get fucking tombstoned and pile drived and you know, like all that
You were
shit.
the
Right?
whipping boy.
Yeah, like, you know, I was just like, so anyway, at one point, one of the guys just like, I went along with it because I like, fucking wrestling's cool. I like doing it. So
Did you guys do hockey fights in elementary school during recess?
no,
Like you'd go outside during wintertime and pretend hockey fight?
no.
Yeah,
Really?
I did that. Yeah, that
That's
was
kind
the,
of awesome. Bro.
that was the yeah.
No, but,
like,
like,
I'd go out with,
We'd be doing that stuff, right? And then like he'd do like a couple of pile drivers and we'd all laugh and the teacher give us a fucking 0 and off we go. And then like years later, like he's just like, man, that was fucking stupid. I could have broke your fucking neck. I'm like, yeah, you could have,
yeah.
I guess. Like, fuck, that was dumb.
absolutely.
You know, wow.
What? Fucking won the title that night, buddy.
Yeah, fucking Jesus. Man, we had like we had belts made and everything. Like we made
Yeah, we had a
belts
belt.
and
We had a belt. We would write fucking storylines.
yeah.
We had fucking characters.
Yeah.
We-
And you'd
we
have a
had
winner of the
fucking-
belt, right? And then
Yeah,
you
we had
just
fucking
hash
music.
it out and we didn't have that's
We
pretty
were-
awesome.
We were the HSF, the Hardcore Stoner Federation. That was our fucking. That was like our league.
Is that you and Sean?
Yeah, Sean. Like a few of my buddies from like back in high school, obviously.
Yeah,
fucking,
yeah.
Dude, we do it in school, and like a crowd would gather and shit.
Nice.
Like you fucking drop a suplex, and you hear like the older kids are like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" Like
Nice.
you just suplex this fucking kid. Let's go.
Yeah, Chris Potter had a fucking trampoline and he made like all the belts. Like he made these fucking belts and everything. And we used to
That's
have
amazing,
these on the trampoline. That would be our ring. And we
Oh,
do all
yeah.
kinds of shit, just like kick the shit out of each other, just pretend and award, you know, we'd all get together and award a belt and they would be determined, okay, you're going to have the belt this week and you take it home and yeah, fucking
You got your
my
bragging
parents are
right.
probably like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, it's the Intercontinental fucking Championship, Dad. Okay. And he's like, okay, son, right on. Proud of you. You know, good for you.
Just gonna go back to running the country now.
Oh, yep. I'll be sure to send the Secret Service out next time. Sounds like you're doing dangerous stuff. You know they don't like that. I don't have a problem, but you know they don't like that. They don't even let me fucking drive. Yeah, that's pretty much how it went down. You bet.
I always love when former President Barack Obama, your father, stops by.
Oh man. You know what? I haven't seen him very much because of this whole COVID thing.
Stops by the show here.
But you know,
You just gotta follow him on Facebook. Apparently, he's got 51 million followers.
yeah, I know, and I can only gotten fucking 9. Like, I mean,
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Throw me a fucking bone, Dad.
Ouch, buddy. Ouch.
Fuck.
That's the real reason you're not on Facebook because you only had 9 friends.
Well, I don't like to have more friends and pretend than I do in real life. So there
Yeah,
you go.
that's fair. That's a fair point.
Also, it's 9 more than what you have, so we'll just
Ooh.
fucking leave it at that.
And mute Eric Daniels.
Shots fired.
Holy shit. Hey, Sid, was holding the Pink Whitney up to the screen indication that you want to drink some more Pink Whitney?
Yeah, I did though. I wasn't gonna wait.
Yeah, no, I've been sipping as well. On
Yeah,
and off.
got a nice drink of it mixed.
Yeah, nice.
All right, well, you guys are going to have to excuse me while I go get a mix for my Pink Whitney.
Dude, just drink it out of the bottle, you Nancy.
Or don't. It's fine.
Whoa.
Or don't.
Views expressed by Justin do not necessarily represent those of the Wheels Blues podcast family corporation.
Nancy could mean anything.
Yeah, well, like Nancy from Stranger Things was pretty badass at the
Nancy
end of
was,
it all, and
yeah.
there's Sid and Nancy, and she was a
There you go.
pretty badass chick for a junkie that broke up a band. But
I was gonna say she's kind of bad news that
There's lots of
yeah,
Nancy's
sure.
that are well represented.
There's that's it. That's all I got. I don't know.
Nancy Pelosi. I kind of like Nancy Pelosi.
Holy
kinda-
fuck.
Nancy Pelosi.
How the fuck did I come into this conversation?
Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, is she your Helen Mirren? Is she your new Helen Mirren? Give me
She
Helen
can't-
Mirren
she
over Nancy
cannot.
Pelosi.
She cannot replace Helen Mirren. No one could replace
Oh
Helen Mirren.
man.
Why do you have a thing for Nancy Pelosi?
Speaking of nostalgia, Helen Mirren. Yeah.
We're off.
Fuck,
the
you're
rails.
going way back, buddy.
We're officially off the rails.
Only took 2 shots of Pink Windy to throw us off the rails this time.
Yeah. So where
Well-
should we get this car back on the track?
Sorry, I'm just boggled, totally befuddled at what your thing for Nancy Pelosi is. I really want to dive into that.
Should I?
Why?
I
First and
like
foremost.
that
I
she
better
kind
hop
of
on this
seems
shit
to
too,
be
just a sec.
she seems to kind of be like a take charge lady. Like she doesn't
Wow.
seem to put up with any buffoonery.
Fuck, Justin's a sub.
And there's a lot of buffoonery there. There's a lot of buffoonery.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't seem to put up with any of that. I like that.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yes,
Just hang
mistress.
on.
No, mistress.
Just hang on.
Hey man, I'm not.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
Is
Yes, Domino.
Tyson's Googling Nancy Pelosi so he knows who Nancy Pelosi is.
Yeah, I had to do that
boy.
too, to be honest.
Did you? Yeah, that's
I don't
fair.
know who that
Yeah,
is.
I
I'll
know
just add
exactly what you look
I
like.
watched the
Okay,
news.
I'm just
I know
gonna
who
add
Nancy Pelosi.
19. If you add 1970 after it, it gets better.
What?
Not a lot, but a little bit.
Are you talking about Nancy Pelosi or Helen Mirren?
Yes, I am.
Gets better.
Yeah, well, I guess that's about the time Justin was born, eh? So,
Oh man.
See, there you go.
yeah, it's a little better.
That's fucking George
within
Bush.
my age range. Yeah, he's
Dude.
like 80. He's like 85.
That is, isn't it? You can't.
Yeah.
It's George
Sure,
Bush.
yes,
isn't
yes,
it?
yes,
With Nancy
yes.
Pelosi.
Sure,
Okay.
probably. Nancy Pelosi's been around for a while. She is old.
Which George Bush is it?
I think it's. I think
the
it's
first
W.
one.
W.
W?
I think it's
W.
not.
The second one.
I guarantee you that guy wasn't a Republican when he was getting bombed out.
Dude,
at
that is
fucking
definitely
Yale
W.
or Harvard or wherever the fuck he went to.
That W. That's not. That's
That's
eight,
W.
That's not H.
W's a cowboy, dude. I like W.
W.
You
Did you
would
guys see
like W.
Harold and Kumar? That's the best part of the movie when they crash into.
Oh
his
yeah, when they
garage and
crash
then-
in his
And
yeah.
he's like, I don't want to do president shit.
Uh,
And then just rolls a joint and hangs out with Harold and Kumar and like, wow, thanks, Mr. President. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to do all this president shit, My dad
is
that was
pretty
making me do this president shit. And
yeah,
fucking what a good, yeah. Anyway, I don't understand the Nancy Pelosi thing, Justin.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, we're-
I like
We'll leave it to
strong.
it,
I
man.
like strong, independent people. Okay,
Okay, well, hey,
You do you, man.
You know what? Yeah, buddy. Like, I'm not going to shit in you.
I like other women too that aren't 75 or whatever fucking age she is.
I haven't heard you mention any.
Yeah, you just mentioned Nancy Pelosi and
You
Helen
just
Mirren.
don't
so-
listen to me when I talk.
Dude,
True.
I listened to you today, and you said Helen Mirren and Nancy Pelosi.
yeah,
Because we're doing a podcast.
about old women that you pine after?
maybe
If you
we
want to
could
do that, we can do that. That could be a thing.
Oh man.
we could try to get Nancy Pelosi on the show and
She's too busy. She doesn't
we
have
can
time
use
for
the whole
buffoonery.
we can use the whole like Make-A-Wish thing. Like you're kind of
I'm
know,
not
down
a
on your
child.
luck,
I'm not a
obviously.
child.
and
And
whatever
then we can grill her.
about
Yeah, and then we can grill her
you-
about why they're trying to stop selling Canada 3M masks.
Right? What's that about? What the
Dude, it-
fuck?
It sounds
Well,
like
I kind of get that. Can I just sound off on this for a
No,
second?
go ahead,
I
go
kind
ahead.
of get that. Because, like, right now, the States is in way more need of those masks, clearly, than we are.
That's fair.
So-
That's fair.
So, if your neighbor, if you had enough food to feed you and Shannon for one day, and the family next door to you had nothing, and it came down to either you eat or they eat, who's eating? You're eating, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what he's doing with the map. And
Yeah.
I totally understand it. It'd be nice if he could throw some fucking masks our way, but I think at this point they fucking need it way more.
Yeah,
than
but to just straight up go like you're not allowed to do this anymore
he's
is
a dick
kind
and
of
doesn't know
like,
how to
But there-
fucking talk to people.
Yeah.
He got to go about it a better way. But like his job first and foremost is to serve America. So
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I do
exactly.
understand.
his
that. I
job
just
is not
read
to
that
fucking
and-
watch out for the whole rest of the world. I'm not saying I agree with Trump. Like fuck.
But
not
his
saying that
job was
at
to
all.
look after America like 3 years ago. Why
His
is
job-
it all of a sudden imperative that he does his job now? Because he
Because
hasn't.
now
been
people
doing
are
it the whole
dying,
fucking
whereas
time.
like instead of people just getting fucked over, now people are dying.
Yeah. Like he's
Now it's
his job.
serious.
Like
yeah,
but
yeah. Now it's serious.
he's a dickhead. He's gonna kill a lot of people because he's
Yeah,
being a
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
idiot. But you know, I get like they should get some fucking masks. Like
I've
honest to
also
God.
read that like they have masks stockpiled, but nobody knows where the fuck they're supposed to go. Like nobody's been told where they're supposed to go.
Could
So they have all
3M
this.
So,
Yeah, but then
could 3M not give the recipe for how to make these fucking masks?
Oh, yeah,
do they
yeah.
not have one
they're-
plant?
You can
Apparently
put a
he's
plant
got like
on
12 different
these.
plants making masks.
Yeah, but they got them all over the
ventilators.
world. Like they
There's
have one in
plants in
fucking
Canada making them,
Ontario
too.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think they're an
Because-
American-based company, so like
Okay.
you know, blah
Oh.
blah blah.
And by the way, just a side note, last week I was wrong, and it is like NIOSH 95, like asbestos grade masks that they're making for this. So I was totally wrong in saying I thought you needed a higher grade.
Okay.
That is pretty high grade, to be honest, for asbestos particles. They're
Okay,
fucking microscopic, right? But anyway, just wanted to quick aside there. Sorry.
Well, I hope a fucking lot of people don't die, and I hope that everybody stays home as much as they can and washes their fucking hands.
Yeah.
Don't
Because there's only, I mean, like, it was a good meme that went out was like they asked your grandparents to go die on a beach in Normandy. All you have to do is sit on your fucking ass and watch Netflix.
Right.
So
Yeah,
just
I
fucking,
like that's a good.
just
That's a good
fucking
meme.
do it, man. Like, don't
Yeah.
fucking get all uppity because you can't spring break fucking party. Just shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
stay home, and like, fuck, how hard is it? It's the
There's
fucking.
like-
I
there's
have
like a-
not left my house. I had, except to take the garbage out.
Yeah.
I have not left to go outside since March 19th.
Nice.
The last time we were podcasting.
No, that would have been that would have been me on Thursday. I think that was the Thursday. That's when I went to get my X-rays, and then you guys did the
Oh,
podcast.
right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with it. Like,
No.
I don't have
I
a
don't
problem
either.
at all with it.
Shannon's
kind of-
going a little nuts, but I'm an
Yeah.
introvert homebody anyway. So.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Inga's going fucking crazy. She's like, I can't handle this shit, and I'm like,
I-
this is
I'm-
fucking great. Like,
I'm
Yeah.
a little uppity. I'm running on a schoolwork. I'm a little uppity.
Play
Oh,
more
yeah.
video games, dude. You got a back
Yeah.
catalog,
That's
Yeah,
very
fuck
true.
yeah.
That's very true.
right? I've been playing.
Yeah.
Plowing
No,
through video
yeah.
games.
well,
I've
and then
got,
like I got the
Monopoly and
boy
shit that
too,
Shannon are
so
playing. So
you try to
Yeah.
get out for a walk or something. But
yeah,
you
I've been
know, so
trying to walk every other day.
pretty much like we just me and him watch some shows, play some video games, and then you know, Inga's like, hey, that's enough fucking that shit. We gotta do something else. I'm like, yeah.
Go for a walk
Yeah.
and read a book.
Yeah, go for a walk and, you know, whatever, build a Lego and paint a picture, you know, do that kind of shit.
I think the
So-
library was actually giving away like craft packages.
Yeah, they dropped
yeah.
them off at like the book stands around town. They had like
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, Katie picked one up, and like her and Tommy were like, he made a fish. He made a fish and a mole cricket.
That's
Nice,
cool.
nice.
Where's the fish in the mole cricket? Let's see them fish in the mole cricket.
Okay, hold on one sec.
This isn't a visual podcast.
It's a visual
Dude,
podcast
I told you I
for
could
me.
put this on YouTube. It's going to
Yeah.
take some doing.
That's your
It's
fish.
Yeah, there
visual.
you go.
That's
That's
pretty.
cool.
Fish
That's
right
cool.
there,
That's cool.
and then that's your mole cricket.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
It
Looks
was-
just
it's-
like them. Spitting image.
It's a pastel-y kind of color, folks.
We'll have to post that onto the onto
Yeah,
the
Sid,
page.
why don't you
Yeah, let's do that.
why don't you
Yeah.
get a shot for the Insta?
Well, why doesn't
Yeah.
Eric send me pictures? Because that's stupid for me to take a picture of him holding it up to the webcam.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll send some pictures.
Cool. Cool.
Good call.
See, the folks get the props. We have props, and the folks get the props.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll even post a picture of my isolation beard.
There you go, buddy. There you
It
go.
looks good. It looks good, man.
It's a
I
good
like
looking
it.
beard.
It is
It's a
good.
good.
I support
I
it.
take back what I said. It's a good looking beard. It's a good
I'm
looking
in
beard.
this. I'm in it to win it. I'm playoff bearding this one, man. I will
Nice.
not shave until the vaccine is in my veins.
So like June, July, if we're lucky.
June, July,
Yeah, June, July.
2021.
2021.
Yeah. There's not going to be a vaccine for like a year.
Yeah.
Not that we'll all be locked inside for a year, but there's not going to be like a viable vaccine for like a year.
I'm gonna need a forklift to get me out of my apartment if it's a year long.
That's very true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, my legs are going to atrophy so much they'll be like little fucking insect legs.
I'm going to your balcony with a fucking magnifying glass if that happens. Stop doing that.
Whoa. Folks, Daniel's just wanted to set me on fire. Whoa.
Little spindles like that for legs, so you could just do it by rubbing them together, I'm sure.
Do you think they make the buzz noise when he was running? Like,
It's more like a crackle pop.
oh, shit.
Hey, that's what mine sound like in the morning.
Yeah,
Should I be worried?
that is what my, that's what my
Yes,
back
you
sounds
should
like.
be. You all should be worried.
Sounds like a cement mixer when I try to walk.
Yeah, my knees are like that too. Sorry, that's why I tried to steal Justin's chair. I don't want to. The less I use my knees, the happier I am.
There you go. All right, producer, let's get this back on track. What should we
Hey, I would like, you know what? I have some questions for you fucking guys.
All right, let's do this.
Jesus Christ.
For you fucking guys.
Come
Okay.
on, take Whitney hard, boys.
Ooh, fuck.
Yeah,
It's 2 shots. Can you see it in my fucking eyes right now?
I can.
Okay, good. I want to know, all of you. We'll start with Wheels. We'll go through the rest of you. And we'll do me last because I don't want to be a selfish dick.
Oh, come on. Why should
I
today
know
be any
finally
different?
this time I'm saying I don't want to do that, but, you know, fuck. I'm trying to be better, so fuck. Cut me a break. What was your first video game system that you had that you played? You know, like something like the first one that you got for Christmas or your birthday or just got in some way.
It was an Atari 2600.
Holy fuck, you are
Whoa.
born in the fucking 70s.
I
Jesus
was
Christ.
fucking old. Yeah, it was like a little box computer, Atari 2600. And it was fucking artillery, buddy. That was my game.
Dude, I
You're like
played.
this little pixelated tank, and you gotta kind of like use geometry to like destroy the other tank, and you gotta use angles. It's really fucking cool.
Yeah,
You
dude.
know what I'm talking
I
about.
do
You
know.
what I'm talking about.
I do know. I think they call it scorched earth if you played it on like a DOS computer or an old
dude,
Apple
maybe.
II or something. Like it was they called it scorched earth. There was you had 2 cannons.
It's a way cooler name than artillery.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I
Hey,
think I know.
artillery's a pretty fucking cool name.
Artillery's
cool.
a cool name. Yeah, I know. It's
You have to think like there was no video games back then. They didn't have to fucking come up with a cool name. It was just like
Do you guys
fucking
rem-
racing.
Do you remember this game?
Galaga. There's
This
a
is
fucking
racing.
game named Galaga.
Galaga's rad.
Yeah,
You
that's
shut your
cooler than
face.
fucking racing. Okay, racing.
Race.
The game is called racing. You hold the.
It's
Hey,
just
what did you
called
get for
racing?
Christmas? I got fucking racing. Like wait, what? F1 Grand Prix? Like no, just racing.
You want to trade for my ET game?
Yeah, dude, I had that game too. Like at some point, I got an Atari too. It wasn't the first one I ever had, but like later on in life, I had an Atari. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like I tried it out. I'm like, man, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? Like I didn't know. Like there was no internet. Like it wasn't that far in the future, but there was no internet or nothing. So I was like, what the fuck? And I think my dad was like, oh yeah, I saw one of those like way back when. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and I'm like trying with like the joystick. I'm like, what the fuck kind of controller is this? Like, there's a fucking
Oh.
knob. It spins. I
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
a dial.
Yeah, I'm like, how do I play ET with this? Fuck.
Man.
Like,
Mine was still on the like fucking keyboard, man. Like I had to use the keyboard and like type in the fucking numbers and the coordinates.
What do
For
you
the-
have, like
for
a
the
Commodore
artillery.
or something?
Yeah, I think it was an Atari Commodore even. It might not have
Commodore
even been
64.
oh,
yeah, it might have even been that.
fucking awesome, dude. I think
So
Atari's had
fucking
the
long ago.
keypad too, because I think I had the same thing, and I had like a few joysticks and
I think the 5200 did, and you'd like slide in cards for each game, and then you had to read the instruction manual because the buttons all did something different depending on the
Oh.
game. So they
Cool.
came with the card that would be like, this is what these 9 buttons do. But there were a bunch like in the like late 80s, early 90s, in the 80s and 90s, all those old home consoles were basically like you had a phone for a controller.
Yeah.
It was like, or like the first Atari was just like the joystick and the button, but you could also use all these controllers in all the different consoles too. So like if you preferred a type of controller, you could plug it into a different console because they were all just like fucking 16 pin connectors, like old computer cables.
Dude, I don't think I could even you'd have a hard time just finding a fucking television if you got these
CRT
systems
for that shit.
you would need when I got an old Sega Master System at one point in time, and I brought it home and I'm like, oh fuck, I can't plug it into anything. So I fucking went and got, because the gun wouldn't work. They had the
Oh yeah,
light
you
gun.
can't do that on flat screen.
Yeah,
You
it
need a
won't work.
CRT.
So I went back down to the dollar store where I bought the fucking Master System, and I was like, hey, you have an old TV? And he's like, yeah, man, here you go. It's $20. So I get home and Inga's like, what the fuck? What are you bringing in the house? And I'm like, an old TV so I could play that old video game system. It's like, oh, for fuck's sakes. But she's a pretty good sport, so she she understood. And then I brought it in and I played the shit out of Gangster World or something for a while. And
so I want a second bedroom for shit like that, like an actual nerd cave where I can just have all my old video game shit, have 2 TVs set up so I could play all the old ones. I can put the Genesis through on the TV there, but it just looks better on a CRT. It just looks like it's struggling.
So
if you watch
sorry to interrupt, you didn't get your video game set up the way you like it yet?
Oh no, I just mean with I've got 13
in the
consoles,
future.
and it's just
Okay.
I need a room just for gaming.
Hey, Daniels, what was your first video game system?
So we would have gotten the NES. Maybe 90, 91.
Was that the NES, the regular Nintendo?
The regular old Nintendo. We had Super Mario Brothers. Fucking the game that I loved the best was Bayou Billy.
Oh, I love Bayou Billy too.
You know Bayou Billy? Oh man,
you could drive that Jeep, and it was you drove the Jeep and launched the bombs, and
he had the whip and the fucking. It was as close to Indiana Jones.
Oh.
I felt I could get to as a kid without watching the movie. So I think I also had a neighbor who had an Atari, and we used to play. It was Larry Bird versus Dr. J. Fucking basketball.
Nice.
Straight up one-on-one basketball.
Nice.
But yeah, no, the NES, and we built our, you get Super Mario 3, and
Did you ever play the NES game where you're it was modeled after Bruce Lee? You're like Bruce Lee, and you basically just go through these levels, karate chopping people.
What the fuck game was this?
I can't remember the name of the game.
You can't just tell us that.
But I distinctly remember this game where you're like Bruce. I'm gonna look it up.
I'm looking it up right
continue, and then I'll look it up.
Yeah, we used to rent, and that was a big thing too, on Saturday afternoons, going to rent video games from fucking Jumbo Video, and yeah, we get Castlevania, the fucking Jurassic Park video game. What else?
Hey, Wheels, was it called Bruce Lee Dragon, the Bruce Lee story?
That sounds horrible.
No, it wasn't. No.
Are you sure? Because you just asked me for a SNES game.
No, just NES.
Yeah, and that is an NES game, The Legend of Bruce Lee.
Well, it's no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Man, that was a classic. That was a classic.
That's a good fucking game.
That was
fuck that level where you gotta just fuse bombs in the water.
No, that's one.
Jesus Christ,
that's Ninja Turtles 1.
That one?
Both
of those games were dope.
Even with
Ninja Turtles
Unlimited
2.
Lives, Tyson and I struggled to get through those games.
Yeah. Dude, Ninja Turtles 2 was the one that they used to have in the arcades. So that was Ninja Turtle. They had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game in the arcades, and they ported it to the regular Nintendo under the name Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 2. And that was on original from the arcade, where you could pick Leonardo, Raphael, all of the 4 turtles had a different joystick and a different set of buttons. And I'd fucking at Shirley's, I would fucking pop quarters into that fucker until like I would get dragged off by my ear for spending too many quarters.
I'm not
Back when there was an arcade here, like when I mean, shit, I don't know
Dude,
when they got.
We played that the last time we were in the city too, at that arcade bar.
Yeah, at the Greta.
That was sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool bar.
Yeah.
That's
it
a
was.
fun. I remember we rode those fucking scooters all really drunk. And,
that Nintendo game was called Kung Fu Master, and the character wasn't actually based on Bruce Lee, but he sure as shit looks like Bruce Lee.
What, dude? An 8-bit game looked like Bruce Lee. That sounds like you're being racist. It looks like an Asian guy. It's probably Bruce Lee.
They even had the sound effects that made it sound like Bruce Lee.
did we
In
lose
8-bit
Daniels?
gaming.
No, he's
That-
just disappointed in my racism towards Bruce Lee.
I think. Oh no, there he is.
No, I was gonna send you a message that I had to use the restroom, but I guess I'll just tell everybody that I have to use the restroom.
Well,
Alright,
hey,
bye,
we're
Frank.
all fucking human here, bud.
Because this is real talk, as far as I'm
This is
concerned.
real talk
Yeah, buddy, real
with
talk.
wheels and blues,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And nobody else.
and the rest of the talent. Actually, you know what? I refer to you and Daniels as the talent.
The ingrates that wanted
No.
to change everything. No,
Are you fucking kidding
What?
me? The talent.
the talent.
Talent. They're referred to as the talent on one
The
of our
talent.
web pages. So there
They
you go.
are the talent.
We're like
I just show up.
you
Everybody
are
else is
you are the
talented.
grand glorious leader.
No, I just show up. I don't really work that hard anymore.
And well, you're the glorious leader. You don't have to.
That's fair. Fair point.
And thank you for all your praise.
You're welcome.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I work so hard.
But yeah,
that.
that game is called Kung Fu Master, and that game's rad. I want to play that
Okay.
game now.
Let's get
But,
it later, yo.
And
Sounds
I
solid.
don't know how to do that.
Just download it.
Just download it onto like your PC or whatever.
Download RetroArch.
Yeah, you
On-
need RetroArch.
on a computer
Yeah.
or PlayStation. Okay.
Get it on. Yeah, you can get it. I've got it on my. I've got it on my PS1 Classic because you can hack those with just a thumb drive, so I can play all those classic
Fuck
games
you,
on there.
Sony.
I've got like 200 fucking PS1 games on there, and I can put like old Nintendo games and shit on there and play with the PlayStation controller.
That's cool.
Fucking release a PS1 Classic with fucking like 20 shitty games on it, and then fucking.
At least they
hack
left it open so you could just plug a thumb drive in and run.
I got a feeling that had nothing to do with Sony and had a lot to do with whoever the fuck built it.
Yeah,
You
They were
some
like,
Mickey
"Fuck
Mouse
Sony."
shitty
Even the
thing.
guys that work there were like, "Fuck Sony. We're gonna leave a back door in this fucker."
Oh, because they just
Somebody will figure it out.
That was the most ham-handed attempt at a money grab ever.
Oh,
I got
fuck
mine for $25 off Best Buy.
those fucking idiots, man. Like they should just if
That
they
wasn't the first of
it's
those
the-
like nostalgia consoles, though, wasn't it? Or
No,
was that-
Nintendo did it and they
Yeah.
did well.
Yeah.
They also did a
It's-
limited run, so they sold out faster than
it's
know,
it's
things that
the
sell out
dumbest thing they could have done. Every company did this the wrong way.
Why?
You realize-
I thought Nintendo was really successful.
No,
at
they
doing
like
this.
all
Dude,
they
have
need
an
to do.
online option so you can buy games individually and download them for like $5. Just
No,
do that.
like have the entire fucking Nintendo library available on the like as a with an emulator and all the ROMs that because they're available anyway for fucking free.
Yeah.
So give a less virusy, very reliable place to get them, and a very stable emulator that can work with any controller on any PC or Mac or anything.
Dude,
And
I think you're
charge,
asking
like-
for a lot. You're asking
Well-
for a lot because like Sony can't even figure out how to emulate PS1 games on the PS4. So
Well, just release
They
because
can't.
RetroArch figured out how to fucking emulate it, and it's free.
yeah.
The games you can get the
I've-
games for free.
Yeah,
So
dude,
if
I've got RetroArch on my phone and I play Game Boy games
Yeah.
on it.
Is RetroArch
Just-
one of those like things
it's-
that is created by like fans and users where like
yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
not-
like a multi-emulator. It emulates multiple systems.
yeah, but it was like designed by like fanboys and like
Yeah.
gamers themselves.
Yeah,
made it, right? It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like a sponsored
No,
Sony or Nintendo.
no, of course
product.
not. No. Because they don't
No,
want you fucking doing that.
they're against that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, they don't
Sure
want
they
you-
are for sure.
But like if they released it and they charged you like a one-time fee or like a subscription fee or something like that, because everybody would do it. Like, look, everybody would be
So many. I'm not a fan of subscription-based
Okay.
services, man. There's
so
so many
like
subscription-based
$10.99 a
services.
month, and you have access to every nice mug, Sid. $10.99 a month, and you have access to every single NES game that's ever made. You're the guy that bought 2 mugs.
Shannon bought them.
Oh, really?
Oh, Shannon bought the mugs. Cool,
yeah,
man.
Shannon bought the
Awesome.
mugs.
Awesome. Cool,
there
Shannon.
you
Thanks,
go.
man.
Why
That's
didn't you
cool.
say? Oh, you didn't know?
I thought it was funnier having you guys guess.
Oh,
Oh, no, cool.
Yeah, she's just. I was like, oh, Tyson says we already sold mugs. She's just sitting there smiling at me. I was like, oh, damn.
That's cool. I was really. That's awesome that she did that. I was kind of hoping it
That
was
is
like my
awesome.
supportive mommy, but it's it was Shannon.
Aw.
There's
It's-
decent quality mugs too. Like
It's your
I was
supportive wife.
expecting thin, shitty, flimsy ones, but they're
They-
all right.
I've
They
been
look
drinking
hot.
coffee out
They
of
look
my mug
decent,
today. Man, they're pretty solid mugs. I have to say, like I was pretty happy. Like you can't beat it. It's a standard
Pleasantly
working man's
surprised.
mug. You're a
You
standard
guys got
working
mugs.
man.
I guess I gotta get one of those mugs.
Yeah, I
now.
gotta have to get a mug now.
Yeah.
There you go. You guys, we're gonna make like $3 on every time that you guys buy a mug. So there you go.
Straight to Justin's account.
Yeah, it is.
Straight to Wheels' fucking pockets.
Yep.
Our own Bernie Madoff.
There you go. He just fucking runs off.
Don't
Like, has
you
anyone heard from?
forget it.
Has anyone heard from Wheels in the last fucking week? Like, is he gonna be on the show? Then? No, fucking, he's fucking gone. He took his fucking
Rolling in my
875 and he
three.
fucked off.
Oh, buddy, you don't even know. Things I can do with 875.
Took his 875 and he fucked off. That's right. Hey, Sid, what was your first video game system that you ever had or ever had any meaning to you?
Sega Genesis.
All right.
For sure. Because all my friends had Nintendos, and I was like, my grandma always came through with like the awesome present around Christmas time. So, I was always asked what I'd like just because that's the kind of people we are. We're not really good at gifts. So I was like, well, I want a Sega. Like everyone's got Nintendos. I want to see what the other one's about. And I love that thing, man. I still have a Sega Genesis.
Genesis, man. I
Dude,
like
it was
I,
fun. Like Sonic the Hedgehog, and like there were good games, man. Like a lot of good games on there.
dude, there's a game called Comic Zone.
Yeah.
And that game, you're a character in comics, actually jumping. Like every time that you finish a screen, you got to hop through the comic panels to get to the
Yeah,
next
it's
scene.
like total fourth wall breaking.
It's fucking
That's
cool,
cool.
man. What a cool game. And Altered Beast is another good game where I think that you can transform into various.
And
Altered
that
Beast
game
was
is
fun.
actually really terrible, but it's really good art. Like it's not as good as the nostalgia glasses are
Yeah.
thick for that one.
I never had any. I loaded it up on the Raspberry Pi here and had to go because my cousin grew up on Genesis and he said it's
Yeah.
a good game.
It's a
Oh,
super
fuck.
pretty game.
Kind of cool. Like it's fucking cool looking. Probably groundbreaking for the time, right?
Yeah, well, that was like they were just like, oh, Genesis is the best. All this stuff, it's got turbo.
Yeah,
this
it's
and-
fast.
So all the commercials for that shit were just like trashing Nintendo and stuff, and it's like
in reality, they have the exact same speed system.
Yeah, and Nintendo had better sound. Like the SNES
Yeah.
had way better sound.
But the Genesis did have the uncensored Mortal Kombat, so
Yeah,
There
but the
you go.
music was so much better on the Super Nintendo.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so Genesis was the first. It was great. The probably one of my favorite games, and like what do you call it? Like licensed games are usually kind of leave a bad taste in people's mouths, but like the Aladdin for Genesis, based on the Disney cartoon, there was awesome. Like just a solid video game, super fun. Music was great. The graphics were amazing. Like licensed games used to be pretty good back in the day because they just dropped, like they put them out with movie releases basically. And now it's just like it's a cash grab. We'll just put fucking whatever together and people will buy it for $80 because of this movie.
Yeah.
Just seems they
Yeah,
don't
that's
try
true,
as
man.
hard. Even A Bug's Life was a solid game on PS1.
Why will they buy it? Nostalgia. Fucking bet your ass they'll buy it.
I want to be in that movie. Oh, this video game lets me. Oh, but it lets me so shittily.
Dude, that's a cool point in the Ready Player One book. The first gate ends up being like the main character of the book. He ends up being in a war games with Matthew Broderick,
Oh yeah.
and he has to act out the entire movie as I think various characters, but mostly Matthew Broderick. And that's it. Every time he misses a line or doesn't act it out properly, he loses points, and he's got no context. So he's just like to pass the gate, you just have to be so familiar with the movie that you can recite the lines. And it's kind of like once people find out that that's one of the gates, they start looking at the technology and they're like, wow, people will pay a lot of money to go be in their favorite movie.
Legit though, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh man,
So,
if
like,
I
you
could
could
be
be in-
Bruce Willis in The Fifth Element, heck
Yeah.
yeah.
So like
It's
you
an
got to
experience.
act it all out, and everybody is it's all virtual reality like around you. Like, and if you don't play the scene out properly, then you lose points and you lose the game and you got to start over. It's kind of a cool idea. But yeah, man. Ready Player One is pretty cool.
Yeah, I have the book. I just haven't cracked it open
We'll
yet.
get to it. Fuck.
I know I've got all this spare time and I'm doing nothing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, how's
Yo, so have you
Apocalypse
read-
Now coming, bud? How's
Fuck! I
Apocalypse
walked
Now
right
coming?
into that one.
Have we gotten
That's
past the opening credits yet?
I've
nice.
got.
I forgot about Apocalypse Now.
I've gotten to where I looked at it on the iTunes store and I was like, "Yep, gonna rent it." And then I did.
What?
There it is.
Yep, there it is.
What?
Well, then I was
we,
like,
were,
ah.
we were here when you did that. I was
Yeah.
under the impression
I know,
you
and I was
bought
like,
it.
ah. No, like the other night, I was like,
Wow.
it's already 10:30.
I already
Yeah.
did. I do my
Yeah, you-
homework. Okay, I'm a professional.
You can play Stardew Valley for 5 straight hours, but God forbid you watch a 12-hour movie.
Yeah, right.
3.5, and it's amazing.
So is Stardew Valley.
It is. Hey,
Is
dude,
it though?
we're gonna
Is
do that
it-
again, eh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. We got fucking blueberries to make money on.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Summer's coming.
Summer's coming.
I forgot.
Fuck,
about
I
the
wish, eh?
blueberries.
Do you think winter's ever gonna fucking die?
No,
Like, it's just never gonna die.
no.
It's
never.
not going
Thankful
away.
It's not super nice out right now. It makes it easier to not go outside.
Yeah.
But like, at least if it was pretty nice out, you could go like on your balcony and sit outside, and you would be enjoyable.
Yeah.
But rather, like,
Yeah.
you're sitting out there and you're like, it's fucking cold out here and windy, and now it's snowing. It's April.
Yeah, we were thinking of like uncovering there was like a day like last week or something that was actually super nice, and I saw somebody across from us, Tyson, who was grilling, and so I go to Katie. I'm like, hey, we should like uncover the barbecue like right away, and of course, you know, the next day it's like -18, and you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, because there was a day or two there where it was like +7, and you're like, fuck, this feels like
Yeah.
+20.
Yeah,
Especially in the sun, and then the next day -18, and like we got like 2 inches of snow. Like, fuck, man, what the fuck? We're already fucking confined. Like, Jesus,
Winter is never leaving.
it's never gonna die, man. It's
Never
fuck.
gonna die.
I tell you, man, if it rains all fucking summer again, I'm gonna move to fucking Germany. Fuck this.
well, no, you're not, because
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
You're not flying anywhere, bud.
Yeah. Well, you know, whenever they open it back up, I'll be on the fucking first flight out of the fucking cold, dead winter that this is, and we'll have to do every podcast on fucking.
This is your life now. This is what you
This
do.
is your life. Yeah, you know what? This fucking cold, desolate iceberg has been my life since forever. So
how could a German? I mean, I've seen plenty of World War II documentaries that lead me to believe that the winters are not so nice in Germany.
oh, fuck, they're just
Is
fine,
that
man.
different? Is that different post-war?
Well,
or-
dude, tomorrow it's
A
going to be
different
17 and sunny. On Monday,
post-war.
it's going to be 21 and sunny. On Tuesday, it's going to be 21 and sunny. And on Wednesday, it's going to be 20 on sunny. And then
So the
Inga
weather
lives in a nicer part of Germany.
she
Yeah.
lives in like right by Berlin. Like it's
Oh,
fucking
shit.
Germany. It's not that big.
That's
It's 7
Third Reich
hours across,
territory.
man.
but-
Yeah, fuck. I went and saw it all, man. It was pretty fucking cool.
I'd love to go to
It
Germany.
was fucking cool. I went to Checkpoint Charlie. I went to all those fucking like all the Berlin Wall shit. Like
Yeah.
I went to like there's little museums and stuff like that. They pretty much have everywhere in the whole fucking city. Like if you go anywhere near Berlin Wall or fucking Checkpoint Charlie or anything, there's just loads of shit that's like how the fuck we got here. Like
Yeah.
watch out for these. Like here's how you don't end up where we did. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's pretty fucking cool, man. Germany's a neat place for all that like so much history and shit and a lot
It's
of good
weird I was gonna say it's weird to see a nation that learns from its fucking mistakes.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
like they don't just double down on it. Like it's not
Yeah,
you know,
right.
they did once. They did once and then they didn't. You know, they were like, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. We're gonna fucking learn. And yeah, they
That's enough. All right. We're not good at this.
yeah,
Let's-
yeah, like it's fucking like
Yeah.
everywhere, and like no, they it's fucking serious shit, man. Like you talk to like the people that went through the fucking whole, you know, being like, my girlfriend's family grew up on the east, like in the wall, like in the fucking wall, and
Inside of it.
Yeah.
inside of the fucking wall.
Seems like
You know-
the safest place to be.
Yeah, you know what I mean. inside of the wall before the fucking, 800 meters of no man's land of fucking barbed wire and landmines. You know what I mean? Like, it was fucking serious shit. When that thing came, like, they're serious, man. When that thing came down, like, they couldn't believe it. Like,
What a silly
Yeah.
world we live in where that
but
shit
it's
happens.
just like, imagine
they did
that.
in Ireland where they're just like, we'll just build a wall. Fuck these other people that are the
Yeah.
same as us.
You know?
Like, what the fuck?
And, like, it was 1989. Like, we were all fucking alive. Like,
Right? It wasn't that long ago.
it wasn't that long ago. Like,
I watched that on TV. Actually.
yeah, like, and it's quite a big, huge piece of history to be alive for. Like,
Yeah, no, it's true.
like, and my girlfriend was fucking 4 years old in the East when that happened. Like,
Yeah.
she
That's
said
crazy. Like,
she doesn't remember. She said she remembers, like, she has a vague memory of going to visit with her mom some friends in the West, but they weren't allowed to all go as a family. Like, her dad
That's
had to
crazy.
stay in East Germany because otherwise they could just fucking leave.
yeah,
They could just not come back.
Oh, yeah, you need the collateral, right?
Yeah. So,
Human
like, they
collateral,
weren't
yeah.
like, so her and her mom went, but her dad had to stay so that, they would come back. And that was as recent as fucking 1989. So,
there's a there's a section of the wall, I think, in the Ripley's Museum in Niagara Falls, and it is like intimidating.
it's
Like,
huge. It's fucking huge.
Just looking at it, like it's just like what this piece of concrete like represents.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And not only that, like, they learned so much. Like, I watched a lot of video on this thing once I was there looking at it. Like, I went home and I'm like, fuck, I want to learn about this. But they a lot of people, like, were just driving cars and shit into the wall and escaping. So, like, they just got better and better at engineering ways to keep them in. So,
Yeah.
like, they would build like at the end, like, the final kind of the final evolution of the wall.
the
had, like,
final draft.
the final draft had the wall, but then on the horizontal on the very bottom, it extended out like 10 feet of
Right.
solid fucking concrete attached to the wall, and they put earth on top of that so that if
Yeah.
a fucking tank tried to drive into the wall, the weight of the tank would keep the wall from tipping over.
Right.
So, like, they spent countless dollars and manpower and brain power just trying to keep people in a fucking prison.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, like, it's fuck. You're like, fuck, that's pretty smart, but, like, Jesus, you could have used it on something that wasn't so fucking shitty. Like, yeah. Anyway,
Like free video game systems for everybody. They could have bought video game systems.
there you go,
Everyone could have been playing Mario Brothers.
having a fucking good time. There you go. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, my favorite video game, well, I guess my first and favorite, because I do really like the system a lot, was the Nintendo Game Boy. And that was the first one I ever got. I got it for Christmas, and I got it was that old that it came with Tetris in it. It was
Fuck yeah,
the
dude.
system still came with a game. So it had like the Game Boy, the link cable. I think it even came with 4 AA batteries. Like, I think it came with, and a Tetris game. Like, I think it came with everything you need. Before they started going, we don't need to throw batteries in a game in there. People still fucking buy this thing. And yeah, that was great. I got Tetris, and I think I got Super Mario Land. It was like a Santa present and a parent's present, and so I was just fucking playing this black and white. And I think my mom ended up playing a shit ton of Tetris, and my dad ended up playing a shit ton of Super Mario Land, and they all got pretty good at it. And I think they understood the appeal. By like the end of the Christmas holidays, I think they had played it quite a bit too. So yeah, that was a good system, man. I played that probably more than any other.
That was the black and gray one, or the black and I guess green.
Yeah, the
would be
black and
color?
green. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's green.
Yeah, I had that
It's a
one too. Yeah.
dot matrix with stereo sound, whatever that meant.
Yeah.
It had 2 little shitty speakers.
Yeah. Fuck. Had that? I think it had that one down in the right corner.
That's
Yeah,
actually the
just
only
one.
Mario game that I've ever finished.
Super Mario Land.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's a good game.
It's super fun.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
fucking
that's literally
great
the
game.
only one I've ever finished.
Like Super Mario 3, Super Mario, like the original.
I've never finished any of those games.
What the fuck?
See, I finished Super Mario, like for the Nintendo, I finished it, and I
Sorry.
finished Super Mario Land. But I've not finished Super Mario 2 because that's a weird fucking game.
I came really close to finishing like the Super Mario on on a game on N64, like Super Mario World on N64, but I couldn't beat Bowser, so I gave up.
You mean Super Mario 64, like the 3D one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the first, yeah.
Game was overrated.
Yeah.
It was okay. I had a fun time.
I thought that
guess,
was
like,
pretty fun.
Like that, like when I got the Game Boy, I was like 6 years old, so I didn't really understand like everything, but I had a good time with it. But probably like the system that had the most significance on my the reason I still love video games is the Nintendo 64. I didn't have PlayStation, although I knew people with PlayStation, and I thought it was a really awesome system. But you know, GoldenEye and you know Diddy Kong Racing and Perfect Dark and like all these kind of games were just so groundbreaking. Like there was first person shooters, but it wasn't done quite like that. You know, like
I'm the same. I've always had Nintendo until I like was old enough to buy my own systems.
Like the first time I played GoldenEye, I couldn't even believe what the fuck I was seeing. Like
Yeah.
the whole like concept of that. Like I've seen it in Wolfenstein and stuff before that on like a really old Windows 3.1 computer or something. But to see it like that, where everything was in your face and man,
Especially like the 4-player aspect of like
yeah,
That was good. That
you,
was good.
you and 3 of your friends could, and GoldenEye was the shit, dude. Like fucking
Wrestling games are fun as fuck too, because you just have 4-ways and
Yes.
shit. Like I had a buddy with a 64, and his folks were pretty well off. It's the same house I went to watch all the pay-per-views, but they had like a big screen, like a 50 some odd inch fucking big block TV in the basement, and we had the 64 down there, and it was like Mario Party, Mario Kart, and fucking wrestling, and we just like down there all night, just like, oh man, gaming till like 3-4 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about it. Like, I was a PlayStation kid. I always have been, and like, I'm glad I had a PlayStation over a Nintendo. But I'm a solo gamer anyway. So when it was like time to hang out and socialize and play games, it was always better to do it at someone else's house anyway. Because playing Final Fantasy VII or Metal Gear Solid or something, it's not like, yeah, pass the controller. You're engaged in a story and trying to
Yeah.
progress through, right? Like, didn't really have those fun party games.
dude, I had a friend who had Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation, and for some reason I was super drawn to that RPG game, and like the fact that it was so long that it needed 3 discs, and you're never gonna pass it like in 2-3 days. Like it's gonna take fucking weeks.
Yeah, you're 100 hours in when you're
Yeah. Like I
finally
just
going
was
down
like,
into
what the
North Cave.
fuck even is this game? Like I don't understand. I'd never seen an RPG quite like this.
Well,
I'd
that's
never
because
seen something so mature. Like it was like you're 12 years old, or fuck, I would have been like 14 or something.
yeah,
You're playing this game that's like got mature themes and like all this shit, and like they're terrorists.
you're an eco-terrorist.
Yeah,
Stopping corporations from sucking the life out of the planet. Like
yeah.
that story is so much more relevant today than it was
Yeah.
back in
And
1997.
just the kinds of issues that like that go on, and like the relationships that happen, and like you're
Cross-dressing,
Yeah.
loss of identity, mental illness. Like there's
Yeah.
it's heavy, like very, very heavy thematically.
yeah, like what
God, it's
a cool fucking game. Like that's probably one of my favorite games too that I've ever played.
No,
But I
hands
mean,
down,
like,
hands
Jesus
down. I still
Christ,
play
like,
it, man. Like
I think-
I've recently played through on the Vita, and like
Yeah.
fucking level 99, everything, all the master materials, all of my materials are fully maxed out. It's like it's and it's still fun. I go in there going like, I still haven't beaten Emerald Weapon. Fuck my life.
I beat it fairly recently within the last 2 years too. I beat it again on the Vita because you could buy the game for $9.99 like 10 years ago, and it's still in your account. Like you can
Yeah.
download it to fucking everything.
Yeah, except for your PS4.
Yeah, well, except for that. But like, yeah, you could just. So I just download it, and it was free. So yeah, like,
So good.
so I used to like before I had a PlayStation, I just go over there and hang out. Like he play the game, I just watch. And
Yeah. Well, that
this
wasn't a
is
bad
so-
game to play as a group either, because you could
Yeah.
hand the controller back and forth. Like if you're
Yeah.
grinding out levels or trying to like breed chocobo or whatever, you can easily spend hours.
But
just,
even like back in 1998, like the game I think was 97. So like in 1998, when we're all playing it now, like you didn't really like there was dial-up internet, but you didn't go on there to look really for strategy. And it's like you bought the book, the strategy guide book.
I
still
miss
have
the
mine. It's
books
taped
and
together,
games,
but I
man.
still
I
got
miss
it.
the
Yeah.
books and games, man. I loved reading like the manuals of games.
Like
that
getting
was
a new
cool.
video game and riding the bus. Like when I lived in Lethbridge, I'd save
Yeah.
up my money and then I'd buy a video game, riding the bus home, reading the manual, like Final Fantasy IX when it came out.
Yeah.
I remember buying that, reading the booklet, just like going, fuck yeah, as soon as I get home, man. 4 discs. This game's 4 discs.
Yeah, like you
I think my
can't.
brother back in the day at Shroot One,
There he is.
he used to. I think he used to have a subscription to Nintendo Power.
Oh,
yeah.
magazine.
I remember Nintendo Power. Sweet.
Fuck yeah, we used to. I think he had a subscription to that.
is he like? Tell me this. He is one of our 2 super fans, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we have
and
2
we have
super
another.
fans.
We have another one that we gotta definitely shout out today.
Okay.
Yeah, because we
Well,
never
let's do
shut
that
him
right
out.
now.
Yeah.
Obviously, at Shroot One, Greg.
At True One, yes.
At Shroot One.
And then at C Potterface,
That's it. Chris
Harry
Potter.
yes,
Yes.
There he is. He's a beauty, man. He's one of my
Yes.
old friends. He's a beauty.
He's
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
Shannon and I have been playing a bunch of Wii Sports lately, just because, what else are you going to do? And every time we play bowling, I just think back to, like, hanging out at Chris's house, like, getting just drunk off our asses playing Wii Sports for hours and hours and hours, man. It was so much fun. Back in the
Sports
Camel
is
days.
actually. I'm really shocked that the Wii didn't take off more than it was, because those like motion games, like those Wii Sports, those are super fun, man. That
Dude, I
boxing
know.
game, I love that boxing game.
I've got like the Move controllers for the PlayStation. I'm just like, I wish they had like a bowling game that's, because the Move controllers are more responsive than the Wii Wiimote, so it would be
If
sweet to
they
be able
had
to
a-
play those things.
If they had a
Tennis.
fucking bowling game for fucking like PlayStation, I would be on that like stink on shit, man.
Right?
I would, yeah,
Dude,
like,
the VR bowling or some shit.
oh,
Yeah,
oh.
that does seem like kind of an untapped market, like the sports VR thing.
So I just don't think it's sold well enough, which is a shame. Like, they have lots of boxing games,
Yeah,
but it's lots. I think they have like
Baseball.
3, but
Baseball would be fucking perfect for VR.
do you think so? Like, I guess like
Oh,
the
of course
batting,
I think
the
so, because like
the
with
batting and the
hockey,
pitching, I guess.
all you're doing is swinging a bat and fucking throwing like a ball.
yeah, they
Yeah,
did
but
it on Wii. They should be able to do it on a fucking next gen, like 2 generations later. console.
Fuck yeah,
Was
could you
there like
imagine?
Wii baseball? I
It
don't
would be
remember.
sweet. Yeah, there's Wii baseball.
Okay.
Can you imagine coming out of the fucking like you're walking out of the dugout?
Oh,
you
dude,
look
just looking
around,
at the
like,
stands.
Oh,
Look down, tap the bat off your foot, and just like, all right.
fucking- what isolation? I've been
Yeah.
playing MLB for fucking
Adopt
like
that weird
10
Yogi
years.
Berra stance,
Like,
Oh
fucking-
man,
Your fucking cardiovascular health has never been better. You're like, yeah, I'm stealing bases like a motherfucker. I'm the
Yeah,
best
dude.
player on the
You work
team.
up a sweat playing those Wii
Yeah.
sports games
Dude,
for
I
sure.
yeah.
hit, I hit over 400 last season, motherfucker. What'd you do yesterday?
Like, if you had one of those, like, once again, to reference Ready Player One, if you had one of those omnidirectional treadmills that they're hooked up to in the whole
Oh,
VR
that'd be
thing, like,
sick.
so then when you're playing the game, you actually have to, you got to walk to the plate, and you could put your hand up like time, and then okay.
Man, I hope some super trap nerd is working on that right now.
No,
Yeah, get on
I'm
it,
sure, man.
MIT.
Like,
Dude, you
Fucking
should-
hope
well,
so.
Check out
When
the
our
games
kids-
that come out for the Rift and shit like that, man. They're getting finger sensors for the VR units, so like they can tell when you're moving your fingers independently. Those
Absolutely.
wireless
Like,
wrists where you
those
just set up the
haptic
things,
gloves
the
and
scanners.
stuff.
Yeah, man.
Like,
It's
so you can
ridiculous.
tell, like, you can feel, like, you grab like a bat, like you can feel it with the haptic gloves, like in your hand.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
well, like
cool.
the PS5 is supposed to have haptic triggers.
That's crazy.
So you
Yeah,
can
like, it's-
feel
it's a-
like the gun in your hand kind of deal?
So when you're pulling the trigger, like you feel tension and resistance, and it
Whoa.
like, moves. And
That's
oh
so
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and like bang, like yeah.
it's gonna be sweet.
That's
Yeah, like that. Oh, that whole Ready Player One, their entire suit that they wear when they go into the Oasis is
Yeah.
like suction cup, fucking like haptic shit to their body. So like,
Yeah.
someone taps them on the shoulder while they're running around in VR, they're like, oh, what the fuck, and they can feel it.
Yeah.
And like they can feel if they grab something like that. They're holding a gun. The trigger's there. It's all just artificial, but pretty fucking neat. Oh shit! Are we chugging out of the bottle?
Is it as deep as Justin has gotten to that fucking bottle of Big
Holy
Whitney?
fuck!
Hey,
He is
hey,
like,
Jeez, I'm
this-
pretty sure
the
that thing was
majority
half.
of this It was not. The majority of this was gone when you guys left.
Yeah.
That was pretty full.
That was. I'm pretty sure it was half full when you brought it out.
It was not half full.
Holy, 'cause
Sir,
like,
you're drunk.
holy fuck! 'Cause
No,
like this,
you shut your face. I am not drunk. You don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, Mom, if you actually listen to this podcast.
But dude, if you guys get a chance, you should check out like the Walking Dead VR game that they have out. Man, like
Okay.
the new like the PC VR is ridiculous. The games that they have, man, it's just. They recently put out a free VR game on the PlayStation. I got to download. That's like a shooter, like you're a wartime shooter. They've got online VR, and that just seems like it would be ridiculous.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah, dude. Well,
online
once this
VR.
quarantine's lifted, Daniels, you should come over and give it a go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
you should all like we'll set it up and like
Yeah.
do some like tactical army shooters in VR.
Sweet.
Oh.
dude, that does sound awesome. Dude, I'll
I
bring
actually
the
want to
raspberry.
download like that.
I'll bring the
Makes me want to
Raspberry
risk
Pi.
death.
Right?
I'll bring the Raspberry Pi over. We can play some Bayou Billy after.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like 6 months or so, we'll
As long as you get as long as you get artillery or Kung Fu Master.
Okay. Dude, okay, I'll get Kung Fu. What is it? Kung Fu Master.
Kung-
I'll get
Kung
it.
Fu
I'll get it while
Master.
we're on the pod. I'll multitask.
Nice. Kung Fu
Why don't you
Master
get a
is so
fucking
good.
apocalypse now, goddammit?
You should do that too.
Fuck.
That's your homework.
We all
That's your
did. We
homework.
all did our homework, producer. You're the
I
one that's
want
not doing
a
your homework.
I want a full synopsis.
I want
Apocalypse
a
Now.
written 1,000-word thesis.
Hey,
What
hey,
apocalypse now?
hey, Wheels. What was that game called? Enter the
Kung
Fist or
Fu
some shit?
Master.
Kung Fu Master.
It's not Kung Fu Master. Enter the fist.
All right, guys. So what's next on the agenda?
We could talk about the Leafs' favorite stories and the Oilers' favorite stories.
Hey, that sounds pretty good.
We could talk about
I
some
do-
sports.
I am.
That's one of the biggest oxymorons in all of sports, I think.
Is that a favorite time when you watch?
favorite Leaf moments.
That's fair, man. That's fair.
Because unless you're like 60 years old, you don't have any.
It's just pure fucking disappointment, eh?
Well, I do have a favorite Leafs moment, but it's not because of the Leafs.
Was it when the Boston Bruins like scored fucking goals in like 5 minutes and then beat them?
No, it's actually not.
Okay,
But that was pretty hilarious too.
that was my favorite Leafs moment of all time.
Daniels, I like the Leafs. I'm on your side, man. I just, I'm an Albertan and I like the Oilers. But I am generally on your side when it comes to Leafs. I want the Leafs
Everybody-
to win eventually.
Yeah,
Everybody
after
has
the
to cross
Oilers
the
though.
bear.
Well, yeah, of course.
After the Oilers,
Of course.
like it's fine if
obviously.
the Leafs win later. Like who fucking cares then?
Who says you have to go first?
Well, because I don't really.
No.
You want to know the reason why I cheer against every Canadian team? Because I don't want them to be the first Canadian team to win a cup since '93.
I could have sworn it's because you're a cynical asshole, but
Also
That's what I
Also
thought.
that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Like I don't want the Leafs to be the first team. Man, you will never hear the fucking end of it.
No.
They'll make
you
a new.
never hear the end of it if the fucking Canucks win
No,
first.
if
That's
And
true,
shout
man.
out
the Leafs,
Johnny Johnson.
There
That
is,
guy would never shut the fuck
there
up.
is way
Oh,
worse
God.
Canucks fans than Leafs fans.
if the
Oh,
Leafs,
yeah,
if the Leafs,
every Canucks fan.
if the Leafs became the
Honestly.
first team to win the cup since '93, there would be a new TSN channel devoted to it. It'd be like TSN
There's
6.
already
The
a
Leafs.
TSN channel devoted
Yeah, I
to the
know
Leafs.
that, but there would be another one purely devoted to replaying that playoffs.
You want to talk about shutting a fucking city down? We shut that city down. Buddy.
Holy
Like,
fuck!
That's what they should do in fucking Toronto because it doesn't seem to be working anywhere else. They'd fucking need to make the Leafs play so everybody would just shut the fuck up and stay in their house.
They wouldn't. They'd be at the games. There's like fucking bequeathed family heirlooms of
No,
tickets
no,
going
you
on in
gotta you
Toronto.
gotta lock that shit down so people can only watch it at home.
Dude,
Well-
cities riot when they're happy for their teams. If they couldn't get in to watch them play, they'd riot extra hard.
Holy
Yeah,
especially the
Man,
Leafs,
damn.
dude.
man! In 06 when the Oilers went, that the Edmonton was fucking chaos. White Ave was chaos. There was fucking
Yeah.
people getting beat the
Man,
shit kicked
Jasper
out of
was
them by
chaos
cops.
when
There was
the Oilers
people
lost.
kicking
man.
the shit out of cops. Like it was, man. Then that was when that was,
getting beat up.
I don't know. It was like fucking people were hanging off the traffic lights. Like, and that was
I
when
remember
they
when
won.
the Jays. I remember when the Jays won the World Series. I don't remember anything really being like reported. Like I remember being downtown. Like the Leafs went on a run And I remember we beat the Islanders in the first round one year. So, of course, Young Street just fucking fills up. It's like, we won a playoff series. And, like, you know, you're high-fiving the fucking cops and shit and fucking... But, yeah, the Edmontonians, they just go right to violence.
Fuck, man. It was, you know what, though? Like, I went to a game the year they made the playoffs for the first time in, like, fucking 10 years. And I went before, like, they played. It was like, you know, you knew they were going to make the playoffs, but it was, I don't know, the 10 games left in the season or something. And they beat Anaheim. And when we left Rogers Place, I was just walking across the street, and there was like 3 cops there. And everybody was like, let's go Oilers. And then, like, you know, traditionally, like, the cars would honk 3 times. And every single cop was like, honk, 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 honk. Let's go Oilers. And all the cops were like, yeah. Like, and I think if they would have been like all, you know, dickheads, everyone would have got pretty angry. But they were like,
how can you be a dickhead when your city sports team is?
Yeah, no, like, they couldn't. Like, they were all honking their horns. Like, they were there making sure no funny business went down. But when we were just all cheering and happy, like, they just made sure to kind of cheer us on a bit, and we're honking their horns for the win. And they were just like, yeah, we listened to the game on the radio. We couldn't watch it, but we listened to the game on, like, you know, whatever it is here, 95.5. I think they play the radio, so they play the Oilers game on there.
Sports on the radio is fucking underrated.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I like
I mean, if
sports
you
on
have
the
no
radio.
other option, it's not bad.
I miss baseball on the fucking radio.
Yeah, it's a little different than hockey on the radio.
No, it's so like I love when there's like a break in the talking, and you just kind of hear like the fucking, there's like an ambient fucking noise of like the crowd. There's usually a drunk guy like right under the fucking press box, like the
He's like, go Jays!
Let's go Blue Jays!
Go Jays, go! I love you guys!
I love that. I love listening to like you know, like just sitting on some fucking grass and listening to the fucking, there's some nostalgia for you. Fucking sports on the radio.
You know, there was some guy in, like, what was the year Joe Carter hit the home run? 93?
93.
93. So, you know, there's some guy in the stands like, you're bum, Carter. You're a bum. Like, you know, there had to be somebody in that 20,000 people.
Oh, of course.
You're a
Of
bum,
course.
Carter.
Game's over. Fucking Carter's going to fucking strike out. Actually, funny story about something like that. The golden goal. I was working at fucking O'Shea's.
Really?
And
Are you talking about the 1 goal Crosby scored in the fucking Olympics?
that I actually cared
fucking
about.
most
And as he's
important
got the puck, moving it around, I'm like, look at fucking Crosby, like fucking dance, and he scores the goal. And I'm like, oh.
Dude, you know what? I think I was doing the same thing because he tries to go between 2 of the defenders and he loses.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is he doing? Like,
This guy's open. Like, this is fucking
Cole
serious.
Harbor.
Like, if this goes to a shootout, I'm going to be pissed. Like, equally as pissed as if the States would win. Like, I don't want to see a fucking shootout.
Is that how they play hockey in fucking Nova? Oh my god, he scores!
Yeah. And it hits the ref too. Like, you know, like the puck goes behind the net and then it goes and it hits the ref or the linesman, and then again like gets it, and then you can hear Crosby like Iggy, and then like Crosby scores, and then like fuck. I remember watching that game too, and I was like so stressed out because if Canada didn't win that game, it was gonna like really seriously ruin my life, you know, like.
And Tyson's heart would have exploded.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be having a podcast.
Yeah, I remember watching that game. It was awesome. I showed up drunk and late to my date at the ballet, which didn't go too well for me. But was at
did you watch part of that game? I thought I was
at
gonna,
your
like,
house
throw you on
getting
I know.
drunk with you, and then I was getting texts like, "Hey, the ballet's starting," and I was like, "Cool, yeah, sorry, just on my way."
The ballet.
Yeah, I
Who the
went to
fuck? Why would you? Oh man, that sucks, dude.
Sid
Like,
shows up. He's got like his face painted, like fucking.
just half cocked and like smelling of beer.
Is there a ballet in town? That was in town.
Yeah.
During the Olympic gold game.
Yeah.
What a stupid.
yeah, that was
fucking-
dumb.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
would
Well,
you
people who
schedule-
like arts don't often like sports, right? So
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
safe bet to have a ballet on a gold medal game. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's a great Simpsons clip from like one of the early seasons where it's like a church service and Lovejoy's like, I want to thank everyone for being here despite the fact that the Super Bowl is going on. There's like 4 people in the church, and the one guy is like, "Oh my god, I forgot about the game."
Yeah. He runs away.
Oh man,
That's classic, man. Like, yeah, dude, I've spent like some time watching a game on my iPhone, like a hockey game, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "Just
Oh,
just watch it, just check it. Hang on." And they're like, "Put that away."
one of the
Like, we're at
Raptors
dinner,
game.
and I'm like, "Well, I just want to check the score." Like,
One of the finals for the Raptors last year was one of the days the power went out in town, and I was at the whistle stop, and like the entire fucking bar just like was flipping out. But then they were all like watching the game on their phones for like 10 minutes, like the power.
and everybody huddled around, like back.
Yeah, everybody was
afraid of
huddling
fucking
around, like
getting a
like-
disease from
Yeah.
fucking being near somebody.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
those were the days.
Those were the days when you could just huddle around and be all
Yeah.
sweaty.
Watch an
and
old video from
have,
like only 2 months ago, and you'll be like, "Whoa, that was way too close
Video.
together."
oh, whoa!
Watch something. Watch like a live news feed from like 2 months. Something.
You let that sweaty guy hug you? Jesus.
Yeah, you're like, "Whoa!" Like you're way
Whoa.
too close. Like, look at you.
Whoa.
You're standing in line for a movie, and you're not 6 meters apart. Like,
That's so
your brain
weird.
does
Oh.
your brain does weird shit now. That
Man,
It's totally
going-
gonna be like that too. Like,
Going into the movie theaters is over now. That's done. That's
Yeah.
not
Well,
a
no,
thing.
no. I mean, like
well,
2
no, not
months
those
ago.
fancy city ones where you got like the big like executive chairs, and you're pretty much like just like 20 people in the damn theater.
Yeah,
you
but
gotta
those
like,
are the expensive ones that like aren't making any money. I think those will be the ones that go first. Like it's the cheap ones that might be able to survive because
no,
they're
those
not.
fucking millennials got money, and they're gonna want to spend it when they can go out.
What millennial
Yeah,
has
fair.
money?
Oh, the millennials have money.
It's called
They all have
debt,
those.
and people are going to be in it far too deep once this is over.
Sorry, millennials, you're fucked.
You fuck.
Okay. At least I drew
Are-
a picture of a penis urinating.
What?
Yeah, I know.
What?
You couldn't read his note. It said I have to pee.
Oh, okay, all right. Sure.
Well, here's a little favorite Leafs moment that maybe you guys. Felix Potvin versus Ron Hextall.
Oh, when they fought, I remember that.
When
yeah.
they fought, like they skated up to center ice. And Toronto used to have a great rivalry with the fucking Flyers, like back in the day.
It's almost as good as the Senators. My favorite Leafs moment was going to be like the 98-99 like playoffs with the Senators and the Leafs.
Oh,
I was actually
the
at
Battle of Ontario.
I was actually at like a few of those games.
Were you really?
Yeah, like I was actually there. I
I've
was
never been to a fucking playoff game for any sport
No?
whatsoever.
That's fair.
Never ever. I've never experienced that.
Yeah, no, it was nuts, man. It was pretty fucking. It was a cool atmosphere. The only sporting atmosphere that I think has been more like crazy and nuts than that was when I went to the Seahawks. Because
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Because football is ridiculous in the States. Like they love that
Oh,
shit.
dude, I'd love to go. It'll never happen now, but I would love to go.
Football
see,
is over.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Green Bay and see the Bears Packers,
That would be
and just
for
to
sure.
hope that there's a lowly Bears fan in the crowd that we can all
Absolutely.
feast upon. And
Absolutely.
that would be something else.
Mhm.
Just frozen, snowing, fucking Lambeau Field. Fucking,
Yeah.
give me
Yeah,
that.
no, I think seeing the Bears would be awesome, man. At like Soldier Field or whatever the hell. it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Dude,
yeah.
that
I remember you
stadium is
telling
huge.
me.
I've seen it from the outside, but there was no sporting events for like the 8
Yeah.
days I was in Chicago. which
I
was
remember you
disappointing.
telling me that because I was like, "Oh, dude, you should totally go and try."
I went there and
do-
bought some Bears merch, but
Yeah.
Oh, Bears.
Dumb Bears. Dumb Bears. Nobody likes dumb Bears.
Oh, Bears.
No, that's fair.
Another great Leafs moment, I guess I would say, is I can't remember what year, but we faced St. Louis in the playoffs, and
93.
Wendell Clark's fucking wrist shot that almost took Curtis Joseph's fucking head off. Like it fucking hit, it caught him in the mask, and just the mask just goes flying. Like Wendell Clark had one of those wristers that would fucking.
Was that the year that Gilmore scored in overtime against the Blues? and eliminated them?
At Short One, check that one out for us.
Yeah,
Come on, fact check.
I think it was.
because
I think it was.
I remember that series when Gilmore eliminated the Blues with like the epic overtime goal.
Yeah, we had a great run there until fucking the Lord
Somebody-
Jesus Christ and fucking the Los Angeles Kings fucking fucked everything up.
Gilmore should have
then
put
there's
his
me.
stick on the ice.
There's
No,
me cheering for the
fucking
Kings.
Gary- Terry Fraser should have called the high sticking penalty that Gretzky committed, and we would have gone on the power play and probably would have won that series
Hmm.
and faced Montreal for the very last time in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah,
Can't write it any better than that, folks.
because hockey's over now.
Oh man,
Oh yeah, that's finished. Yeah, not
Yeah.
just Mad Max.
Yeah,
Fucking.
Thunderdome.
dude, isn't it?
Two
Yeah,
men
man.
enter, one man
Fuck.
leave.
hopefully
That's what we're gonna
somebody's
be
making
betting
a
on.
hopefully somebody's making a Gladiator Thunderdome now.
That's the new sports is going to the fucking grocery store and coming back without a fucking disease.
Well, no, I think you gotta wait 2 weeks before you know.
Well, whatever.
So like you get back from the store and you're like, well, 2 weeks from now I'm gonna fucking if I'm healthy, cool.
It's like baseball. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Fuck. I know every time we leave the house, a little bit of fucking like there's 5 cases here, I think now. I mean it's up. So there'll be 6 tomorrow probably.
Is there 5 here now?
Yeah, there's 5 here now.
There was like 4 a week ago. Now
Yeah,
there's 5.
Yep.
Hopefully they're all isolated.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But you know.
Well, because
Yeah.
it was the first one was like somebody that came back from a trip somewhere. So like,
Well,
I
like
wonder-
most of them are, but like
Yeah, I
Jesus,
would-
like who knows? But how many did they give it to? Right. That's why this is so scary because you don't know.
in the news, I read that like a lot of it's spreading so easily and quickly is because it's silent spreaders, like people that don't know they have it or spreading it around.
Yeah. You can
Like, 'cause
you can
they-
have it
yeah.
and not know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
yeah,
like,
it's pretty.
so
Keep
stay
your
the
eyes on
fuck
that
in your
recovery
house.
rate. Yeah, seriously.
Stay the fuck
Keep
in
your
your
eyes
house.
on the recovery rate because
yeah,
people are fucking recovering from them.
Yeah.
Like, people are
absolutely,
dying,
absolutely, yeah.
but
But
a
also-
lot of
They
people
are
are fucking
recovering.
recovering too.
For sure.
Like, so
Yeah. So focus on
fucking
a little
watch
bit
your
of good
shit.
news.
Yeah,
Focus
man.
on a
Watch
little
your
bit of the
fucking
good
shit,
news.
man.
Yep, I agree.
wash your
Wash your
hands, wash
shit.
your balls. Fucking don't
I-
touch anything and stay the fuck away from people.
Especially before you touch your balls.
Definitely.
All right. So I
Okay,
think
so
that might do her, eh? For tonight.
yeah, that was my bad. I did that.
That might do her for tonight, boys. I think we might call her.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's gonna be the end of the podcast for today.
I think so. I think episode 7's a wrap. It's it was a gooder. I had a pretty fucking good time, boys. I gotta say.
It flowed
This
really
is
well.
incredible.
I was
I
quite
had, a
happy
pretty,
with it.
I had a pretty fucking great time tonight.
Quite
with you
happy
guys.
with it, man. I'm enjoying these quite a bit. These are the highlight of my entire week.
Yeah.
I think they're the highlight of 23 people's other week. You know.
I would fucking hope so. At least two of the people really like the podcast.
That's right. Hey, Wheels, where can we find you on social media and elsewhere?
You can find me on Twitter at Mighty Wheels, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram as Justin Reether because I'm not that creative.
There you go. Daniels, how about you?
You can find me at Eric_83, and you can find me also in my fucking house.
Oh, I live like 1/2 block away from you. So
because I'm not fucking going anywhere until these goddamn ribs are healed. That's
There you
guaranteed.
go.
That's an
That's
Eric D guarantee right there.
there it is. How about you, Squeed?
Well, I'm at Squeed on Twitter with the SKW Squeed Love on Instagram, and also the Wheels and Blues Pod on Instagram.
There we go. You can find me at Tin Can Blues on Twitter. The Wheels Blues Twitter is at Wheels Blues. You can go to our website to find our blog, our merch, and our podcast. Actually, you can listen to right from our site at http://wheelsbluespodcast.wixsite.com/my site. And our email, if you want to get to us, is
Well done, well done.
Easy for you to say.
wheelsbluespodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, you're right. That is easy.
Yeah, like, share, and subscribe our podcast. If you want to talk at us, just email us, and yeah, see you next week.
You have any
Right.
questions or ideas for topics you want us to talk about? Hit us up and send us a message.
You bet. You can get to us right from the Anchor website, or the description of any of our podcasts will have a link to leave us a voice message. If you're interested, go right ahead. A topic, a question, a fucking,
Just say hey.
You want to fucking call us a bunch of dickheads, go right ahead. Just leave us a message. We'll answer you probably. And thanks for listening. This has been episode 7 of the Wheels Blues podcast.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Have fun.
Wash your hands. Stay inside.
Don't you put it in your mouth.
Unless you have someone you love.
That's right.
Just alright, just alright. With a sword, it's 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 just alright. Just alright.